We got levels on everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Seems like it. No, and anyway, here we go.
Yep. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
The BabbleGab.
What are we doing?
No idea.
I
Or
don't know.
gabbly like.
What happened to
Beam in.
Steve? There he is.
By the beat.
Welcome aboard, Steve.
Hey.
I got no head.
Hey, King Dragon Boy.
Hey, King Dragon Boy. I got no head.
How are you? You might have a special guest today, but we don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm still waiting to hear.
King Dragon Boy. Is that you, Tim?
No.
Timmy.
Is that you, Tony?
Why would it be either of us?
I don't know who he's talking about.
In chat.
Chat.
Oh, I don't look at chat.
Well, maybe you ought to start.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, Put.
What?
I still got no head, and neither does Timmy.
Anyway, what are you talking about?
Look at your OBS.
All right, give me a second.
Technical issues already?
I don't see anything in OBS. Just a black screen. I mean, on YouTube, it looks like we're all four there.
Yeah, all of Putt, all of Steve, half of you and half of me. Oh, there we go. There's the other half. I'm sorry. I thought I scrolled up, but I guess I didn't do it enough. I didn't hit it hard enough.
How much time you've wasted, Tony?
Yeah.
You and Putt.
Okay. What do we do?
Wasting time.
I have a song called Wasting Time.
Anyway, hi, King Dragon Boy. Been sitting on the throne for days. Oh my, I've had that happen before. Not fun.
Oh, and now, and I'm doubly sorry that I said anything because now the screen is black. Oh, it's back. It's back.
It's back.
Yay.
Anyway, happy Saturday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Saturday.
Saturday.
Well, Putt said happy Friday, your TGIF yesterday, so.
Well, no, because yesterday, Putt was saying, oh, I thought the show was on Tuesday, but it's on the 4th. And I said, and I checked everything and I said, you're crazy. It is on the 4th and it is on Tuesday. Both statements are true.
I have a hard time keeping track of days.
Ah.
I only use robots as automated royal guards. I was just talking about royal guards to Vicky earlier.
And King Dragon Boy keeps wanting Apology None to visit his dragon city.
Oh.
That'd be cool.
They're not dragons except for, well, we did Dragon Boy, he had considered, or he was giving us a magic harpsichord. And I was going to have Rob play the harpsichord and become a dragon while he's playing the harpsichord and end up ruining it and everything else in the vicinity.
Ah.
No, I think it'd be cool if, like, you had Tracy riding a dragon. Timmy, you could be a dragon. Barry could be a dragon, like a big dragon.
And I can just be a dragon.
And Rob could be like a little Godzuki dragon.
Well, nobody else is privy to this, but I guess that's an advantage of watching this show. There will be a dragon transformation in the new film. I want her for myself.
Well,
it doesn't. It's not really integral to the plot, but I know that the Transforma fans, they do know that there's going to be transformations. I've just been very vague about it. But it's a good looking dragon too. Good looking. I'm getting better at making dragons. So maybe I can make more dragon transformations. The better I get at them. Harpsichord are like pianos from the 18th century, 17 or 1800s. Well, the difference is a piano, a hammer hits the string, and a harpsichord, the string is plucked.
Yep.
And
I heard a guy playing one today, and he was terrible at it. God, he was bad.
Who?
A guy on YouTube. playing a harpsichord.
Well, Rob loves harpsichord. It's his favorite organ to play with. He's in fact, a lot of the Apology None songs have kind of a trademark harpsichord sound. It's not actually trademarked, but it's kind
Never
of.
mind. I have somewhat of a musical question. Kind of might be harpsichord related. It might not be. What musical instrument is used for the zap on Bewitched? It
Sounds
sounds
like.
like a harpsichord.
Is this something you know the answer to already, or are you curious?
Oh, I'm trying to find out. I wish I could
It
play
almost
this
sounds like something to do with Jew's harp.
because I can hear it in my head. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, a Jew's harp is it's not my favorite instrument. It's a novelty thing. There's a song I hate, that Cripple Creek song. And at the end, a hobo's dream if she ever lets me, and then you got this boing, 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 annoying as hell.
Mhm.
But that's a Jew's harp, and I do believe that that's what they use for Genie. They slow it down or something.
Oh, that's for Jeannie. I'm talking about Bewitched. When she zaps.
I've never seen that. I haven't seen
But
that show in like 60 years.
I was that was my next question was the Genie blink. What they use? Is that what the
Well,
juice?
you got the answer for Genie Blink.
Yeah, well,
No, oh, well. All I know with her is the Twinkle Twinkle Twink, which just sounds just like some type of xylophone or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Glockenspiel. That
Oh,
song "Moonlight Feels Right" with the marimba in the middle.
Yeah.
Always annoyed me to me that sounded 70s when I first heard it in the 70s. It was just like, and so evidently, when the guy, the publisher, record company heard the song, they're like, "We like your song, and I think it'll be a hit, but we got to get rid of that dumb marimba in the middle." And he refused. He said, "No, I'm not going to release it without that." Because they were like, a pop audience isn't going to like that, but they did, because it was the stupid 70s.
Sorry, guys, it struck me too funny.
They don't even know what you did. Or you ain't out of nowhere.
Oh, she mooned the camera. I know.
No.
No, it's my hand.
Her hand
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting on the bed. You can't see me.
I sort of have tried the harpsichord once. I was in a fort. It was Fort Caroline in Jacksonville, and they had this room with it was a harpsichord, but it was like shorter. It was like a coffin, and they call it a spinet, but it was it was a form of harpsichord, and I actually I got to tinkle at it, not pee on it, but I tinkled the ivories on it. And it was beautiful. When you're actually, experience one in real life, they're really neat. And something more beautiful than a harpsichord is a clavichord. And if you ever get a chance to, look on YouTube for like a classical clavichord song, because those are gorgeous.
I think that's what
your clavichord is located here between
Stop making the same joke yet, dimwit.
Neither one of you are funny.
That's what happened when you fell off your e-bike thing. That's what you broke.
Yeah, your clavichord.
No, that's clavicle.
No, clavichord. They changed it just yesterday.
Yeah, it's now it's now called a brontosaurus.
Yeah.
So in the groovy era, they made an electric clavichord and called it a clavinet.
Yeah.
And instead of being used classical, it made a funk sound. And like that Stevie Wonder song, Superstitious, that's a clavinet. Which is it's an electric clavichord.
Now, girls in the 80s used to use lots of clavinet on their hair to make it stand up.
I can't say anything with you guys without you bending the gig right out of shape, you dig?
There you go.
It's okay.
If I were like the record executive, the Moonlight Feels Right, I wouldn't have worried about the bean bags or whatever the hell it was. It's just, can you lose the vocal fry?
Oh, does he do that in the song? Yeah, I guess he kind of does. I've always been annoyed at vocal fry, especially when girls do it. But now that it's kind of becoming mainstream and they have a word for it, it's like I hear it everywhere now.
Yeah.
Vocal fry.
It's when it's mostly girls do that. I don't. It's Steve. It's when they go. So I asked if you want to go on a date. They end up.
Oh yeah.
It's
It's like they
horrible.
run out of air before they're done talking.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that, just like that. It's terrible, like a
That's
creaky
great.
door.
I mean, it's kind of like Christopher Reeve, only he didn't.
Britney Spears is a good example of that. Oh, baby, baby, baby. I'm like,
Yeah, I
shut
hate
the
that. It's annoying with men, but not as annoying as because the women it's so prominent and
Yeah.
because they're supposed to have nice, pretty voices, and when they do that, it sounds terrible.
That'd be like Virginia singing.
There's a terrible term for that. I don't like the term, but when people do stuff like that, and they do it consistently, like when they're talking or singing or something like that, it's just like has melded into their communication style. They call it a whisker, believe it or not, and it's a silly name, but it's it's like if somebody keeps saying, what I'm saying, what I'm saying, that's also what they call a whisker.
Well, I thought you were a vocal fry was a whisker, according to your first.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
because I can kind of see that because I wouldn't attribute Neil Diamond to having a vocal fry, but his singing style, I always pictured him with a beard before I actually saw it. Because Sweet Caroline, I pictured a bearded guy singing it, like a Kenny Loggins looking guy. But
I always thought he was really old.
Well, he is now.
Neil?
I mean,
Oh,
in
back in the
1970, I thought he was old.
yeah, back in the 70s, I thought he was an old guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he
He
was an
sang
old
like
guy
a-
that like lived in a sewer that they sometimes walk by and have him sing into the mic, and
Well,
he'd come up with
Can't live in a
all kinds of
sewer. That's so
songs.
Ever
stupid.
read about a frog who dreamed of being a king? No.
Well, I was talking about this morning. When I would hear Jackson Brown, I pictured kind of a bigger guy.
Oh, yeah, he's a
His
little guy.
voice is very robust, his singing voice. And when I first saw the video for Lawyers in Love, the guy looked like Chachi's younger brother. I mean, he looked like he was 14 years old. I mean, have you ever seen that video? It's like I can't believe what I'm looking at because it doesn't match the voice doesn't match the face at all. I mean, age was really kind to him for a long time.
That's like Casey Kasem. Didn't see him for years until after, I listened to it for years and never knew what he looked like. And then I saw his face. His face to me didn't match his voice.
Oh, really? What did you picture? Like Wolfman Jack or something?
No, I was picturing this redheaded, bushy haired guy. I don't know why.
Oh, like Bozo.
Yeah.
Leo Sayer.
Like Ralph
If you
Malph.
ever met him when you're on the phone, I pictured you look like Bozo the Clown.
Tell people all kinds of weird crap like that.
Hi, Fidesco.
Then again, the guy who did the voice of like Boris Badenoff and like 5 million other cartoon voices, Paul Frees, he appeared in a couple of movies. And he's this little guy. He's got this giant voice. He's this little bitty guy.
I kind of pictured Mel Blanc as being a little guy, but most of his voices were little. A famous voice actor floofied this week. He did like the Archies and a lot of that stuff. But he was he's like 88, so it's okay.
Ron Dante?
No, he was a singer.
Singer, okay.
No, this is a voice actor for the cartoons.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Ron
there's a few
Dante.
that
I think
I've had
he did the lead vocals on Sugar Sugar and a lot of those Archie songs, right?
Yeah.
I've had the exact opposite reaction to a few musicians. Like, I'd heard Steve Miller. I had an image in my mind of what he looked like, and then when I saw him, it was exactly what I had imagined.
I've never seen Steve Miller actually.
He
just looks like-
is
kind of a clean cut guy. He's nothing special.
he kind of looks like a little like C.W. McCall, but if you don't know what he looks like, you wouldn't know either.
Yeah.
He
Big.
wears glasses, and he's not fat, but he's got kind of a round, kind of a full face, he's kind of a. I don't know who else. When you're trying to describe someone and you're trying to think of someone who they might look like,
It's tough.
it's easier just to goggle Steve Miller. You'll find him. or they'll show you what he looks like now, like some shriveled up grape or something. But I don't know. Look at Steve Miller in 1970s or 80s when he wanted to reach out and grab you.
Yeah.
Fidesco said, "Hey, Fidesco's here, by the way, in case you missed it."
Hey,
Chat.
Fidesco.
Let's go.
Good to see you. What was the there's another instance. I know, some of us are not fans of Mark Hamill, but I saw, Mark Hamill did the voice of the Joker, and they had this girl named Tara Strong doing Harley Quinn. And one time they were together at a convention, and they both looked exactly like they do on the cartoon. He didn't have makeup on, but she was gorgeous. I mean, I don't know why they didn't have her play, because she was thin and built and all of that. And she sits on his lap and she goes, "Hey, Mr. J." And he's like, "Hey," and then he did his voice for her and all that. That was pretty eerie to see the voice actress looking exactly like.
Well, some people say that I look a little like Terry Summer.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. You look more like Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah.
He was a handsome guy. Did you ever see him before he grew all that mustache?
No.
He kind of looked like Steve Miller. I'm just kidding. Hey,
Okay.
Steve, are you monitoring your messages?
Yes.
Okay.
What I was gonna say is it's rare. You talking about Mark Hamill doing the Joker voice and what's her name doing what's her name at the
Tara
convention.
Strong. Yeah.
When it's odd to have voice actors or any actor do their bit in front of fans,
Yeah.
which is
A
very
lot of them
rare.
are buttholes. I heard didn't Steve that you said that Edith was like that.
Yeah, Gene Stapleton.
She's got a reputation of being a shithead.
She said she was on. Her and Carol Connor were on Donnie Marie's show, the talk show, years and years ago before they passed away. And Donnie leans forward and says, "Come on, do the Edith voice." And she's like, "Oh no, I only do it for pay."
That's right. That's what I heard her say on a radio show. They're like, "Hey, can you do the Edith voice?" She goes, "Oh no, honey, I get paid a lot of money when I do that."
You know what? They have to be judged at the end. That's kind of like Meat. That kind of disappointed me about him when Steve asked him to give him that sweeper and he declined, because they'd be nothing without the fans. You dig?
Now, Wesley and Kathy, they love reenacting Land of the Lost.
Oh, they love singing the theme song. And well, the lady who played Florence, the sarcastic maid on the Jeffersons, you saw she was 93 years old last year when we saw her. And Wendy asked, something about the Billy D. Williams episode, if that was really him. And she went into her, "Don't you tell me about no Wendy." And she went into her maid thing right there. That's a class act. That is really not. And she was so cool. Sweet.
It's like Barbara Eden. You said when she did that.
Oh yeah, she did that. That was kind of, she was doing it with everybody pretty much. But
that's what some of these celebrities do love what made them famous. That's
cool. God bless her. I'm so glad that she was 93 as well. I mean, the chances. That was if I hadn't have gone there, I might not have ever got a chance to ever see her. Kind of like kind of like Spencer Milligan. That was literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. That was it, because that was his only experience, and he floofied. So that was it.
Barbara doesn't still look beautiful in person. I bet she does.
So Barbara?
Yeah. Barbara.
Oh yeah, she was still. Well, you saw the picture with me.
Yeah, still beautiful at 93.
Was Michael Ansara there?
Who's that?
He passed away, didn't he?
That's her husband.
Michael Ansara. He's
kind of dark complected, and
he played the Blue Gin on Night Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, yeah. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, he was
93 is a pretty ripe age there.
Yeah.
When I was at I was at Barb's wedding a week or two ago, and this older guy, he's like 80 or 90, and he starts talking to me about some conversation. He said they were talking about spring chicken. No, not a spring chicken anymore. And he looks at me and's like, "So were you ever a spring chicken, Timmy?" I was like, "Nope, I was always a snake in the grass."
There you go. And Sarah, he passed away about 11 years ago. He was born 1922, so he'd be 102 now.
And Barbara Eden went through some tragedy because I think her son died at an early age, I think.
Well, then that's even more of an accomplishment that she's living as long as she has, because a lot of the times that'll take decades off a person, something happening like that. My grandma was never the same after my mom flew. She.
Well, it was Carrie Fisher and
Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds. One day.
Look, Debbie died a day after Carrie did, right?
Yeah.
And and what was it? Johnny Cash flew like a very short time after June.
Yeah.
And didn't Rosalind Carter pass away just not long before Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they were propping that guy up for like months, though, like Bernie.
Michael and Sarah and Gene and Barbara Eden were married from 1958 to 1974.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
they had their golden divorce anniversary last year.
But they were like, what would two people with magical powers being married? That could be. Imagine a fight when they have fights.
Yeah.
Actually, that was on the Smurfs. There was a couple that were both magic, and they would be like turning each other into things, dragons, when they'd argue.
That's probably what the Wonder Twins did when they got mad.
Well, but he was always a bucket of poop or a turd or whatever.
Exactly. And she would be always some kind of whatever animal she wanted to be. Yeah. She could be like a Bengal tiger and just, jump him when he's not looking,
A bucket of poop.
I really think that was a women's lib thing. That
was he always water?
Yeah, he always had to be made of water, which meant ice. But even when he was made of ice, he wasn't cool. Like, when I do the Transformers stuff, I pay a very close attention to an object and what a face is on an object. And the animators who did that, or the artists who did the Super Friends, he would become a bridge, but his face would just be like in the middle of the bridge, like a human face. It wouldn't. He wouldn't like totally embrace the object he became, out of ice or whatever.
What they should have done with him, instead of just being a bucket of water or some stupid thing where he does dumb shit, they should have made him like a elemental. You know what I mean? Like a water elemental.
Well, I would have gone a step further and just have him become inanimate object. He could become a car or a pipe, or just something that's not an animal. Like she could be any animal she wants. It would only be fair that he could become any kind of machine or object. You know what I'm saying? So Tony, you piqued my interest when you talked about the Golden Girls' age, because you were saying that they were all like in their 40s. So I did look it up. They were all born between 22 and like 23. So they would have been in their early 60s, except Blanche was like 10 or 12 years younger than everybody else. So she'd have been younger than me when she started. She was like.
But still, Getty, she was even older than B. Arthur. No, she was younger than B. Arthur.
They aged her up to play one of their mothers.
Yeah, but they were all within a year of each other except Blanche. She was considerably younger.
Yeah, that was such a good combination. Those four ladies, they
had good writing.
That's what makes it.
Yeah, because I watched a Mother's Day episode just out of the blue. I mean, I hadn't watched it in like a decade, and it was just on. That's back when we had TV, and I remember watching it, and I'm just like, this is damn funny. This isn't like your normal sitcom with the canned repeat jokes that, most sitcoms that back then, it was just a setup for an insult or some kind of yuck joke.
Yeah.
And they were actually it was actually good writing. I was like, wow, this is funny.
The Golden Girls are hilarious too.
You what?
The bloopers for Golden Girls are hilarious.
So was B. Arthur a bitch in the bloopers?
Not really.
So here's one gag that I'll always remember from it is Rose was doing dishes or whatever, and she screamed and said, "There's a big ugly man outside," and it ended up being, Dorothy B. Arthur.
They were always good about making fun of her, well, poking fun at her for about, the deep voice and the tall.
Well, my mom loved B. Arthur.
Oh.
She kind of reminded me of her a little bit, so I can see why.
I didn't get into Maude, though, for some reason.
Well, it was wasn't Maude supposed to be kind of a
women's lib
in the same universe as All in the Family?
Yeah, she was Edith's cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was very women's lib oriented, that thing.
Well, she was a Marine, right?
Yeah.
B. Arthur.
Well, drove jeeps or drove trucks or something, right?
Yeah.
Arthur did. Wow, I didn't know that.
That's how she got so big.
Yep.
Yeah.
All those push-ups.
I just can't believe Betty White's gone. I mean, I thought she was.
I can. She was like 110 or 100 when she 99, right?
No,
she's a 99 club.
They jinxed her. They were making all these plans for her 100th birthday, and then she kicks the bucket at 99 and a half.
It seems like a lot of them did. I think my Aunt Sadie, I think she might have lived. I don't know if she lived at 100 or 99. I don't know.
I mean, but she had a really action-packed life. Betty White did. I mean, I remember back when she was a brunette.
I don't.
And married Alan Ludden.
Yeah.
Speaking of ancient times, so I've got this big box that was in my shed, and I took it out and I started going through the papers. It's all the stuff I did in back of tests in school, sketching things. It is amazing how many. I would say at least 50% of everything in that box is cars going off of cliffs and blowing up, and planes blowing up, and zeppelins crashing and blowing. It's about all I did.
You're like Nelson Muntz.
Huh?
I said, you're like Nelson Muntz. I drew a plane that's made out of guns that shoots guns.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and I used to make books. I say books. You get like 20 sheets of paper and staple them together and make a book. And I had so many of those, and I loved doing them. But it was all the same thing. Cars going off cliffs and zeppelins exploding. And it got to the point where I didn't even want to open them up because I just knew what it was. It's boring now looking at the, thinking I did all that. But you know what? I was honing my craft. I was practicing.
Yep. That's what I did.
And one thing I did notice is when I was about 11, I was looking at, what was I, 5 when I wrote? And I was like, what? I was 11 when I did this? This is terrible. I didn't know I sucked so bad. But then it's like a year later, I was getting good all of a sudden. It just kind of started happening because when I was thinking about it, I was like, the only thing that kept me getting beat up in middle school was because I was a good card drawer and stuff. That kind of made me cool. A cool nerd, as they called me. So I'm like, this stuff here I'm looking at, this isn't cool, but it developed pretty quick. So by the time I was in middle school, it was all right.
Yeah. One of the breakthroughs I had as an artist with my drawing was I switched over to a mechanical pencil, and that really improved my art, my drawing a lot. I don't know why, but
I've never been able to put one on paper without it breaking, the lead breaking off.
Well, I don't use a heavy hand.
Oh, and you got to stick out just a tiny little bit and then just keep.
Yep.
Mr. Neff was critiquing one of my paintings I did, acrylic paintings in his class, and he said, Tim, he's sort of a blacksmith of artists. Because my brush strokes are so heavy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Brush strokes or breaststrokes?
Brush strokes. He said it was I can't swim worth a shit, Steve. I'm a terrible swimmer.
Especially when you're trying to paint while swimming.
Yeah, try that.
Because he was talking about painting and not.
Yeah,
I think that's why I like the mud pit so much, is because I can float without thinking I'm going to sink and die.
Well, get you one of those get you one of those canvas boards, get some acrylic paint, swim out in the ocean, and paint the shoreline from the ocean.
You remind me of about 1992 when I got a paycheck. I don't know. I guess it was my last paycheck of being an electrician. electrician assistant, and I spent about $700 at a shopping mall art store, and I bought a big work table, an artist's work table, big one.
Yeah.
And I bought a compressor and an airbrush and all these different paints and brushes, and I just, like I said, that's $700 in 1992. That was a lot of money in art supplies, and
that was.
But I was ready to go, I guess, and I made some nice, cool paintings with it, and I gave them all away, or I tried to. Isn't that funny? I spent all this time making paintings, and I just give them away.
That's cool.
I had one of the one in last page of Summer of the dragon going through the wave, the breaker wave coming up. I originally, that was one I painted about that time frame. It was huge. It was like a sofa size painting that I airbrushed, and I made the dragon all chrome looking, and I just gave it to Randy when I was moving. I just don't want these things. They take up space.
And then he lost it behind the couch.
Lost it behind the couch. And he did. One day I shouldn't have asked. I said, "Oh, you still have that painting with it?" And he didn't even remember it. Me giving it to him. I'm like, "You son of a bitch." I don't mind giving away my paintings, but gosh, that's kind of an insult. You don't even remember it. And the rest of them I just tried to sell at the garage sale for like $1 a piece, and nobody bought them.
I want one of your paintings.
Do what?
I want one of your paintings.
You haven't seen it yet. It could be of a butthole or something.
So
that's what you usually paint. So why not?
One day.
No, I don't mean like a body paint. I mean, I'm talking about like on canvas.
That's what I mean. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, if you come out here, Steve, I'll see if I can find one for you. Okay.
It's got to be a butthole, though.
Well, now that I got his hopes up.
On that note, I will be right back.
Were we here 20 minutes?
Yeah, half hour.
Because did you ever hear that if you're at a party or any kind of gathering, every 20 minutes it goes silent?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So I wondered if that was our 20-minute silence.
That's where the tape loop comes to an end, and you have to.
How you doing, Platt?
I'm doing okay. I was just thinking I was going to tell you that there's a lot of 80s movies I never saw, and Jen's having me watch them. And a lot of them I like, I never saw Weekend at Bernie's, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, you finally saw it? When did you see it?
Probably a month ago.
Wow, I didn't realize you hadn't seen it. That was a classic.
Yeah, and then like Encino Man and
no, I haven't seen that one.
That's got Pauly Shore and Brendan
With the
Fraser in it.
mud?
What's that?
Is that the one where he's ice came out of the ice?
He's caked in ice, and they dig him up, and he thaws out and starts going to school with them. And it's a really funny movie. I mean, it's good. It's a good movie, but I mean, it's I'd say it's kind of lowbrow humor mostly, but it's got some clever parts. It's got Pauly Shore. It's got Sean Astin from The Lord of the Rings. And of course, it's got Brendan Fraser when he was in good shape, and he was a caveman, obviously. And it was pretty cool.
Well, Brendan Fraser played a similar character.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Didn't Brendan Fraser, wasn't he like one of those, or was it just the Tarzan thing?
No, he played.
I guess it was just his George of the Jungle stuff. I saw a movie. I thought it was Pauly Shore with Gracie. It was Animal.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I know Rob Schneider is in it, but I haven't seen it.
I think he was in one called Animal or something. He was in an accident, and somehow he ended up. I don't know if it was like a Steve Austin thing, but he ended up getting like kind of an animal personality. It was a comedy, silly show.
I saw an interview with a guy, and he was former military, and he goes, "Yeah, at one point they selected me to go to this special unit, and the special unit was like paranormal psychic stuff, and the general of that little unit would literally make him stare at goats and try to kill the goats." And he said he was doing it one time, and there was a hamster, and he did the thing on the hamster, and the hamster just fell over, and it was like, whoa, he's dead, and they're going to look at it, and then the hamster just springs right back up and jumps on his wheel and starts running.
I thought you could say the hamster got back up and started beating the shit out of him.
No, but he said this is also the general that would constantly try to walk through walls. And he goes, the guy was nuts. And it's the exact same story as Men Who Stare at Goats, with Ewan McGregor and George Clooney. And what's really funny about it is Ewan McGregor played Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars, and they kept talking about in the movie that Men Who Stare at Goats. He's like, oh yeah, you got to learn to use the Jedi powers, and all that kind of thing. And they call, not referring to Star Wars. I mean, they were referring to Star Wars, but they weren't, they didn't particularly. The general guy believed in the Force, but the other guys, were just like, this guy's nuts, and that it was a pretty funny movie.
Yeah. So when Steve comes back, why don't we pose for a screenshot for the next BabbleGab, since you're back with us, Putt?
Okay.
And that'll be kind of a new thing. I don't think we've ever tried that before, where we actually make goofy face. Of course, I can't do much with the goofy face, but my face is goofy as it is.
Okay. I need a haircut.
And a real job.
Yeah.
I hated that song. Didn't hate it. It's just not my thing.
George
Thorogood is another guy that was clean cut that you wouldn't think. Go ahead, Putt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
No, yeah, it's funny you say that. I keep having nightmares that I'm back in an office, working in an office, and hating it, And I dreamed that last night. The dream was I was working for this pretty cool company, and a new company bought it, and they started implementing a dress code. Like during the summer, we had to wear short sleeves and a tie, and if it wasn't summer, you wore a blazer and a tie and all that. And I remember coming in and saying, basically, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, you're one of our, main guys, like I, usually was at doing, we're not, I shouldn't say usually, frequently I was one of the main engineers on something. And I basically just told them to pound sand. And then they kept coming after me. He's like, well, you don't have to. We can slip by with you, And I'm like, no, I want out of this place. I just want out. And I keep having dreams about that. And if I could get a real job, I would, but I can't, being completely disabled and, the other issues. And, but I wouldn't mind being able to have a job where I could go and be around people. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, I'm so used to being alone now, except for Jennifer, she's great company, but it's like I miss, in the good places I worked, I miss the camaraderie,
Yeah,
And
I have dreams too about Blue Cross when I was the AV guy, and they're generally really good dreams. I miss the place. It was like the Jetsons. The complex was. It was almost like it was all made up of sky pads. It was so neat, and the architecture and all the interior decor was all the mid-century kind of teak wood, and I really enjoyed that job. But you know what, I it's one of the things with the new administration I don't like is when they said, oh well, the government people, they can't tell a mute anymore. They have to go back. I don't want all those government people on the road.
Yeah.
With me, it's like it's going to be more traffic. It's going to be more accidents. It's going to be more, if they're so worried about pollution, more of that. And I would have just been like, because they didn't want these empty buildings just remaining empty. I'm just like, sell the buildings. You know, let's get rid of the buildings. And if the people aren't pulling their weight, then replace them. But it's just more mothers they're gonna have to, their kids are gonna be raised by daycare centers or whatever. They're not gonna have their mother in the house. I don't like that.
Well, I worked for the government from home for like 2 years, and you know, I sat right here where I'm at now, and my headquarters were in Macon. Once in a while, I'd go up there and be there. The thing I didn't like about it was working from home was normally if you have a problem or something and you're working with a group of people, you can go walk over and talk to somebody and get the whole thing solved pretty quick. Now, when I was working from home, I'd kind of have to make phone calls till I got lucky to talk to somebody. You know what I mean? It would be like, okay, I need to talk to Andy, and kept going, and it just wouldn't. You know, I couldn't get a hold of him or whatever like that. But you know,
well, we got Teams, so you can just chat with people.
Yeah,
pretty
instantly.
You
can, but trying to get them sometimes to answer because
that can be a problem.
Yeah, poor Andy. You know, was a lead developer, and he was so busy all the time that it was hard to get a hold of him. You know, and he was my mentor or whatever there. So that was a little bit of a pain. I'm not advocating to, you know, I don't know. I don't think there's the problem with working from home in a lot of places is people don't work.
Well, that was, you should see my original monologue. I said, if they're not pulling their weight, then they can be replaced.
Yep.
You know, if they're just playing Nintendo or something instead of working, you pretty much know that they're not doing shit. Yep. But I don't know.
I'm trying to remember how I used to slack off when I was doing that.
Well, shoot, I mean, you've seen Office Space. You saw that guy, you know, when those guys were asking what he does, you know, he basically jerks off for the whole first hour of work or 2 hours of work, you know.
Uh-huh.
Not literally, but just stares at the screen or does something else. You know, being in a cubicle isn't a guarantee. I don't know. I'm kind of against slave labor. I kind of hate this cubicle shit. Remember that Johnson & Wax building that all the architecture books have, Tony?
Uh-huh.
It was this, like, I think it might have been a Frank Lloyd Wright building or something. It's rounded, and part of the interior was that the seats were all permanent and they were like upright or whatever, so everybody had great posture when they were working. It's just like, it sounds like a communist beehive to me.
Well, it probably is, you know, similar thinking behind your school where you were.
Oh yeah, let's do a school without any windows so kids can't daydream or anything. It's bad enough putting little boys in a box with fluorescent lights for 7 or 8 hours a day, but let's make sure there's no windows either.
Yeah.
You wonder why they end up on meds and killing people.
Yeah.
People. Hey, Steve.
Hey, what?
I wanted to do a screenshot for our next BabbleGab.
Yeah.
Is that how you want to look?
No.
I don't care. It's okay to be silly. I just want...
However you like to do it.
Okay, I'm going to put it on delay for 5 seconds, okay? You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Okie doke. Got it captured. In other news.
In other news. Do you want me to do a news segment?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
Would you like a Wednesday update first?
Oh yeah, sure.
He said he wished he had seen this sooner. He'd have done it tonight. He's at Marshall's shopping for a cruise.
For a cruise?
Yeah, he's doing 3. I guess it's convention thing. I don't know. Fan ground.
I thought Marshall's was the cave, the little cave opening in the Lost City. That they should have put Marshall. Did you know Kathy Coleman actually worked at a Marshall's for a while?
Sure.
That's funny.
So did my mom.
Now, what did was Marshall's the one that sold like mostly coats or something, or what?
That was the Burlington Coat Factory.
That's right. That's what
Marshall's did sell. It was mostly clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we may have him next week.
All right.
I hope so, because then we might have more chatters.
Yeah.
And if well, no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to put him on the spot, but it would be nice to be able to kind of advertise. It's okay. We don't need to advertise it.
I put the link in here. He may show up tonight yet, so you never know.
Well, I'll be a dragon again next week for him. It's okay. I don't think I've been the same thing twice in a row before.
I'll just be in drag.
Yeah, I'm the same fat guy every time. So
yeah, this is my costume.
Well, if I known he wasn't going to do it, I was going to do this with the webcam today and do it from the drum room. But having a celebrity guest, that I would have had a lot of setup in that room, and with that, I'd had to take the external monitor in with me, and it would have been. We only got like 20 minutes to set this show up.
Yeah,
you chose wisely.
Oh, that was the Coke commercial.
Yeah,
was it?
Yeah, they made the Indiana Jones Last Crusade into a Coke commercial when he chooses a Coke, and that knight says, "You've chosen wisely." And I guess whoever did the Pepsi shriveled up into a raisin or something.
Oh, they got all Land of the Lost episodes on Tubi.
How do they look? Are they like remastered, or do they look like shit?
It looks the same as it always did on TV. I don't know. Was it remastered?
I don't know, because I had them on DVD and they looked pretty good on DVD. I don't know. But when somebody does a frame capture from it or something and puts it on the page, it looks like dog poop.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt Mark's news.
I haven't done that yet. I'll put my thing up in a minute, but I remember my favorite job when I was in high school. I worked for Torturers R Us. We saw all kinds of fun stuff.
Torturers R Us?
Yeah. If you get to torture somebody, you need somewhere to go buy the stuff.
Did it look like one of because we got a Ripley, believe it or not, museum in St. Augustine, and pretty much all it is torture devices. The whole place. There's like a bridge that you go across that's got a spinning pipe with lights, and it disorients you and makes you think you're falling, and torture devices.
Torture devices.
Yeah.
Fun for the whole family.
We're up in Northern California. They got this thing called Confusion Hill, and you go into this little shack, and and suddenly gravity's all screwed up. Well, the shack is just built on a damn angle.
Right. I've been to a couple of those.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I just feel like, okay, I'm in a house that's sideways. There's no.
Well, the fun is that my mom and dad knew what to do. They were in one of those places, and I've got a picture of them where they took a picture of them two standing, and they tilted the camera to make it look like the room was straight, and it looks like my dad's leaning and my mom's leaning away, like, get away from me, kind of like a. Yeah. In fact, I think I've got that in my Land Before Time album.
That's what everybody does. They just align the camera with the house and all, but it doesn't. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm weird. Oh, I'm leaning over. It's strange. And now it just feels like the house is sideways.
There was one I went to in Pennsylvania
50 years ago, so I don't imagine it would be much different.
I went to one of those in Pennsylvania, and I guess the Amish were running it, and it was pretty much just like what Tony describes for the most of it. So you're feeling like you're tilting in one place, and then they had a bridge or something that you crossed, and it was kind of fun and kind of wild, and I was a littler kid. Well, at the very end, they had a stuffed three-eyed goat sitting there. So you're doing all this, and then you get this horror show of this three-eyed goat looking at you, and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that again.
Hey, what?
As a little kid, it would be scary.
Remember the Funhouse in Central City? or Black Hawk that they used to have, and you'd go through all the funhouse, and at the very end, when you're on our way out, there's a woman with like 6 light up boobies or 8 boobies. Yeah, she had like all these boobies. Not a real woman. It was like a mannequin, but she was naked and had all these boobies. It was just funny for a little kid, you know. It's like little kids go through this thing and they see this. You know, it was the 70s. You know,
they need to make those for traffic signals, except for 3 boobies, and they have them hanging up there. That way, guys would never, you know, blow through the light. They'd be sitting there staring at the, you know.
But then they'd be stuck there a green light.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, make the stoplights look like boobies. That's kind of funny. Make the traffic lights look like boobies.
There you go. But now they're going to put 4 colors up. I don't know what the 4th color is. It's like
probably a rainbow.
Well, the thing is, okay, but what it would have to do is the naked picture would have to pop out when the light's red.
Yeah,
and then it would pop back again. It would like show AOC or something when it's green.
Yeah.
So what about this new Captain America? This movie's coming out, and he goes around the world, whatever, saying America sucks.
Yeah, it's crashing bad.
Oh my gosh!
I'm still here.
And they got a Red Hulk in it, and it's supposed to be Trump.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this corrupt politician, and he totally modeled it after Trump. And then when he won, they've had to reshoot everything now.
Oh, okay. I'm the best Hulk ever. Outstanding, totally outstanding Hulk.
I'm the best Hulk. But they say that the Red Hulk is only in there for like 4 seconds. It's a big, it's a big bone of contention with Marvel fans. And not only is the guy playing Captain America a big contention because he's just stupid. I don't even want to go into it.
Well, the guy who's playing not I guess a Red Hulk CG but the guy who's the president that's supposed to, I think his name is Donald Bump or something, and it's Harrison Ford that's playing him.
Yeah.
When did he become such a whore?
I don't know.
Was he always like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Air Force One and some other shit. The only movie he's made recently I liked was Cowboys and Aliens.
Well, Air Force One was a big blockbuster. To me, when I say horror, is just doing anything for the money.
No, he's not like that. He's not like
sure seems to be. He stumped for Cackler.
Did he?
Of course he did. And that's all they... and the only people that stumped for her were paid for it. So that's when I was like, when did he become a whore?
Okay, welcome to BabbleGab News. How are y'all doing?
Oh!
Today my co-hosts are our news team staff here. It looks like Steve's gone at the moment.
I'm here.
But we've got Timothy and Timmy Ross in the guise of a dragon, because it seems like he's doing an on location with a dragon. Somebody's with a dragon and mushrooms. And Steve was here and then he's gone again.
Well, I tried one of the mushrooms. I didn't think I was a dragon, but I'm feeling weird.
I'm eating. I didn't want to eat in front of you.
No, that's what was those must have been powerful mushrooms, because it's affecting all of us, But I'll start with some news here. First of all, I fell again this week and I survived. So you can tell that by my presence here. And this is not a recording. 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 Anyway, my sound man is the guy that did it, Milli Vanilli. So anyway, other news of the mundane and pointless and all of that is what we usually cover on BabbleGab. I'm trying to think of what would be there's all kinds of good mundane stories that are going on out there right now. First of all, I want to give you a word of advice. It's not uncommon for people who go into caves and try to crawl down in those caves to get stuck and die. So don't go caving. That's my PSA for the day. And anyway.
Or
Oh, yes,
spelunking
Steve.
while you're at it.
What's that?
Or spelunking while you're at it.
Yeah, don't go spelunking either. Yep. Usually when I go spelunk, it's in the toilet. But well, let me see what else. I don't know what stocks are doing today because I don't pay attention to that. But
You'd have to go to the stockyard and it stinks there.
It does, yes, it does. Another news of the mundane, and then I'm going to turn some of it over to my colleagues. Jennifer wants a dog. She also wants a donkey, and I don't know what else. I mean, anytime she sees an animal on TV, she wants it.
Well, the reason it's on TV is because it's extra cute for some. It's like a freaking nature cute.
Yeah, and they're smart too, and they're funny.
Dogs or monkeys?
I think you said both. Donkey, Tony.
A donkey would be better. I wouldn't have a pet monkey.
No, they were big back in the '60s. Everybody, thought they'd be a lot of fun to have a pet monkey, and it's not.
I especially wanted a Davy for a pet monkey.
Yeah,
Davy.
No, we had a rental house back in the '60s, early '70s, and we had a tenant there, and they had a pet monkey, and then they moved out, and there was monkey shit everywhere.
Also, they throw it. Monkeys. Fling Poo, Mr. Fling Poo was in it. So, also remember, guys, monkeys will eat your face.
Mm-hmm.
That's their favorite thing to do.
Oh, like that one Travis.
Yeah, exactly, Travis. That one monkey that ate that woman's face and bit off her fingers. I know. It's a terrible thing. So don't keep pet monkeys and don't teach them like how to speak English and use weapons and nets and shit. Don't teach them that, okay?
Well, there was that gorilla, which is not a monkey because they don't have tails, but Coco the gorilla that was taught to use sign language, and they gave her an IQ test, and she scored higher than a lot of people.
I'll believe it.
Well, yeah, when you see people out there like in message boards and stuff, I believe it too.
Yeah.
That, or they might actually have, apes, on the message. Wouldn't that be funny? You're arguing with somebody and then you realize it was an ape the whole time. Like,
yeah. It'd be like you're arguing with them and it says, Coco wants orange. What the hell does that mean? Okay, that's it for me for a night right this moment. Timmy, what happened to you this week?
Let me think. Goodness, that's a challenge. Having to think. Some young girl on DeviantArt gave a very nice compliment to my Hideaway album cover, and said how it's just wonderful and so dreamy like.
Very
Isn't that
good.
Nice?
Yeah.
And she also liked the gatefold. I put that up there too, where they all looked like fairies and whatever elves,
right?
Kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of nice because it
is. You do realize it was probably a 57-year-old dude that did that, but
you can kind of tell by their art and what they like, because it's all the favorites they do and all the art they do, and when everything's done with colored pencil.
Okay.
You kind of. But yeah, there's people up there that are predators and stuff. I don't mean like with the tentacles in the dreads.
Yeah.
What was it with that? I don't want to go into that. So I don't know. The water is finally starting to subside a little bit from the flooding rain 2-3 weeks ago.
I just hope you don't find a mobster in a barrel.
Yeah.
A what?
A mobster in a barrel when the water clears.
Oh yeah, it
Was an engraved watch that says Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
that, and I've got two trees that were downed. One was a big one, so I'm having to take sections of stump over to where I burn the stuff, and I can't get anything to burn. I think because everything just is full of water, like rain. Yep. So I don't know how long that's got to dry out, but I'm pretty sure.
I think.
Huh?
Months, I think.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that one day when I do it, it'll start this inferno. It'll be like a nuclear blast. It'll be like, catch all the trees on fire, you know.
Yep. Can you split the stump at all?
You know, I have a big axe, a big one, like a 2 or 3 footer. And I tried to hit it with the axe, and I could barely even chip that thing. I'm like, how did people do this with axes? I do have a chainsaw, but I don't want to waste it on.
As accident prone as Timmy is, I don't really want to suggest he do anything like that.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the film, the new one, where Terry's opens up this folding door pantry, and the door falls off, and he falls with it back all the way across the kitchen, and falls on the floor and puts a dent in the wall where he hits his head on the wall. And that actually happened to me, that very thing, even the dent in the wall. I told Tony about it. He's like, "Are you sure you're not a cartoon? That you aren't Terry?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm going to put that in the film then." And it happens to Terry.
Well, I could tell you how I used to dry out wood for fires, even if it was big stump like that. But it's I don't know. It seems to work, but it might not if the wood's that wet. But it was cool. What I'd do is I'd build I'd build a regular fire. Okay, just maybe I might even use charcoal briquettes, and get the thing nice and hot. And you can't split that stump evidently, but you set it near there and let it dry some, next to all that heat. And then, because I'd do this with big trees and, big dead trees. And then I'd pull part of the stump of the tree, and I'd just put that in the fire, and that would eventually start to burn. And then as that burned away, you could slide more of that wood in there. That's what she said. And then you get it, that's a way to dry out wet wood.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking if I if I put some gasoline down and I'm starting a fire, at least I'm kind of drying it out a little bit each time. It's a matter of weighing that against when it rains again. It's just like,
yeah.
I actually put a tarp down the last time it rained, and it didn't cover the whole pile, but it.
And don't use gasoline. Never use gasoline on a fire.
Yeah, use benzene instead.
Benzene. You can use charcoal. You can go buy those self-lighting charcoal bags, and they make a nice hot bed of coals. And then if you want to, you can pile dry wood on top of that and get a fire going.
The gasoline burns itself out real quick.
Yeah, but I've also seen it like go poof and catch people on fire. Fire, fire, fire.
And you got to watch those fireplace logs, because David Letterman's dog ate one of those things and died.
Oh no!
They got combustibles in it, or what do you call it? They're like
something not good.
Yep. Okay, so Tony, how was your week? What did you do this week?
Oh, I didn't fall over.
Good. Oh yeah, how are you feeling from that?
Well, I mean, the arm sort of works. I still have to kind of help it up a little, but
For those of you who don't know, Tony fell off his bike right into the middle of the freeway, and he got run over several times.
No, it's just be tip over. Just one of those deals where you put your arm out to try and catch yourself, and it did the same thing to that same shoulder as it happened to me back in about '89 when I was riding along part of the Los Angeles area called Palos Verdes, and there was an area where there was subsidence. The ground is just slipping down, and so the road surface was just busted like that, and I didn't see it. And I'm riding along, and then The next second, I'm still there in the same position, but the bike's gone.
Oh, Lord. What?
It just did a little wobble and just disappeared out from underneath me.
He was like Fred Flintstone. He was just going down the highway in a sitting position.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And so I
Pumping his
did the
feet.
Superman bit for about a half a second and then landed on my belly. And I must have tried to catch myself with the arm because it did wrench the shit out of the shoulder.
I saw some videos of people jumping their bicycles, like their motocross bicycles. And this one dude, hits a ramp, goes up in the air, and his bike just falls apart while he's still in the air. Like the front tire comes off and everything else starts coming off. And oh man, it was a funny wreck. But he was okay. He was fine.
Oh, okay. It was really funny because he died.
Yeah.
That'd have been funnier.
Evil Knievel used to, I think he said his motorcycle would, when he'd do the jumps, he said the back wheel would start to move to, like the back of the bike would start to shift to where it wasn't straight anymore. And then when he hit the other ramp, it was like Kawasaki, when he'd hit the other ramp.
He was sponsored by Harley, so he had to use Harleys. And like a dirt bike or something would have been a lot more appropriate.
That makes sense.
Because the Harleys have about suspension travel about 1.25 inches.
Yeah, you want something springy. You don't want something with the giant fenders and the, saddlebags.
Well, I mean, they were the EXR, but they were still, they were still.
He jumps 14 buses with a gold wing.
Oh, jeez. That I'd love to see.
My uncle and aunt had a gold wing, and I rode on that thing for probably 100 or 2 miles once. And I wasn't on it at this time. I think he might have lived in California at the time, but we were all planning on going to a family reunion in Albuquerque. And then we got the call that he and his wife Betty were on the motorcycle and they were broadsided by a deer. And that he was going to lose use of one of his arms. And they were a mess, but I think that's the saddlebags and just all that stuff on the bike kind of saved them.
That's good.
But he ended up getting use of his arm back because he would tell me, he's like, yeah, I lost total use of my arm while he's looping his arm around.
I can't do anything with it.
Yeah, they couldn't go to the reunion. And then my uncle, Dick, had a appendicitis attack and was in the hospital, so he couldn't go to where it wasn't a very big reunion with them two gone like that. But I did have a cousin that I got to see for the first time. His name is James Garner.
Oh, I like the show.
Not the same James Garner you're thinking of.
Oh, right.
I didn't know you were.
Firebird anyway.
Do what?
He should get a Firebird anyway.
He should. Yeah. He should. That would have been pretty funny.
That'd have been good. Cool. Well, Tony, I'm glad you're recovering. And I'm sorry you had such a digger.
Well, it was a stupid thing because it was like somebody stopped in front of me kind of awkwardly, and I had to kind of go over to the curb and put one foot on the curb. And then when he left, I started to go again, but just for some reason, because I wasn't in my accustomed position, I lost my balance and fell over. So there was no speed involved.
What's a buttaholic?
Someone who just can't get enough butts.
I guess so.
Okay. Wondering.
Why did you ask that question?
No.
Is that the kind of stuff that goes through your mind when you're just
used to get wine in butts?
Yeah.
And people who drank a lot of wine, they said they like big butts.
They cannot lie.
Speaking of which, did you hear? I had read something, I was hearing a blog the other day or yesterday. It doesn't matter. But it was a guy that was talking about some big rock and roll tour. This.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, my wife.
This big hi. This big hi, Jen. This big.
She'll be in a second. She's in
one of those rock and roll extravaganzas.
And
it had like 38 Special in Kansas, and and Starship and all this. And the guy basically was saying it was a ripoff. He says basically, you know, that most of the people aren't there, and the one guy who's from the band that still survives has to do it sitting down, and it's not really. But he was talking about Starship, and I didn't know this. Evidently, Mickey Thomas and I guess one of the other main members of Starship had a barroom brawl.
Whoa!
And it ended up like breaking Mickey's bones, and that was it. That Starship broke up after that. And I guess they've had two different. I don't know when this happened. I'm assuming 10 or 20 years ago. I don't know, but
yeah, I think it was 20 years ago when I kicked.
So you heard about it? I didn't know about this. Mickey Thomas kind of seems like a cool guy. I don't know why you'd hit him. Not that
alcohol.
I don't think you hit him.
Who, me?
Yeah, you didn't hit him, did you?
Yep, I did.
Oh, that was you.
That was me that broke up Starship.
Well, were you a member of Starship?
No, it was right after they released. We built this city on rock and roll, and I went and I hunted him down, and he was the only one I could find at the time. And
Did they ever get blame you for it?
Did they ever get letters from the people who actually built that city after the 1906 earthquake?
Letters?
Yeah, saying we built the city, not you.
Pieces of paper with sticky things on them that come in the mail. The mail that used to come to your house every day.
Right.
Well, what Tony's trying to get at is people actually rebuilt the city and not just some hippie stinky band in the 60s. I do remember Jefferson Airplane came up with an album in like 1989, because that's back when the 60s became cool again.
Yeah.
And so they reformed Jefferson Airplane, and evidently the album bombed. And there was like I think the one single I remember is called Planes. It was about this kid in school that drew planes, and this girl thought he was cool. And that's about all I remember from it. The actual melody or the song itself was pretty good, but I think the subject matter's dumb. I mean, I liked drawing planes too, but it doesn't make for a great rock song.
Yeah.
No. It's like writing a rock song about taking out the trash,
Well, also the chorus was really stupid. It didn't matter. The chorus is called "I like planes and jet aircraft." It was the dumbest chorus. It's like, but I seem to remember hearing it again after all these years, and I remember the verse or the hook, that gets you into it was pretty good. It's like, this is a jamming good song, and it's like, what? And then they just ruin it. I like planes and jet aircraft.
That's too bad. Well, I think I'm going to write the trash song and be like, I'm laying in bed. It's 3 a.m, and then I suddenly realized tomorrow's trash day. So I get up, I go outside in my bare feet. It's cold as hell on the asphalt. I haul the trash out and I knock one over and it spills all over the street. So I got to pick that up, just kind of.
And you're like, it's so cold. My feet are cold on the asphalt. And then, whoa, I land on my ass. It's your fault. Oh.
Yep. There you go.
Steve, are you still here?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Eating dinner.
Okay. Because I would like
30 minutes ago I was eating dinner.
Well, plus I had to attend to a 3-year-old drama.
Okay, but I was going to say Steve could play the song, but then we'll get a copyright strike. I hate that shit. It's like kind of like
I wonder if there's any way to put like a song credit in the YouTube thing on the fly. Not on your fly, but on the fly.
We'll have to figure out
if you make a video and you use a piece of music, then there's a little credit for it at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, I don't mind the credit for it. But you see these podcasters that they'll be playing something. They're like, oh, they're playing a song. I got to turn it down.
Oh yeah, then they mute it.
Yeah, they mute it, or they'll get a copyright strike or something.
Actually, those songs I have up there, like the Partridge Family song and Nick and Jack and whatever. At the bottom of those videos, it shows licensing because it's.
I don't think my karaoke I Feel Fine's got it.
That licensing bit while a live show is in progress.
Yeah.
With karaoke, the bar has to pay
they pay BMI or ASCAP. They pay them.
Right.
I wonder if I did get a check from them, but I think it was for somebody else named Terry Summer.
But
a check for the love song.
Yeah.
That's
7 cents.
That's still
Sounds
only
good.
3,000 total views on Spotify after all these years, and I think it has to be like 3 billion before you get like $1.
Mhm. Well,
It's
I'm
always something.
thinking on singing that song live at halftime at the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Cool.
No, there
Toho
was a
keeps
guy. Oh, sorry.
Toho, the Japanese company that made Godzilla, keeps copyright striking me. I did a really cool Godzilla video, and it says why 3 reasons why King Ghidorah is better than Godzilla, and I sing it like Wesley Willis, and Wesley Willis was a kind of a mentally disturbed man from Chicago, and he'd stand on the corner with his little tiny Casio keyboard, and he'd write songs like Batman whoop my ass, Batman whoop my ass, you know, that kind of thing, or Rock and Roll McDonald's is his big hit. And he goes, I went to McDonald's, I ordered a number 4, and I was eating it, and I was still hungry, but I didn't have enough money. And then he goes, I took him on a war hell ride, you know, just this weird tirades that he goes on. And he goes, one of them was like, I got kicked off the plane. He goes, I got kicked off the plane, and I'm really sorry. You know, that kind of stuff like that. And that's how I did the Godzilla song. And I had a lot of clips from different movies, and they keep copyright striking me, and I should protest because it's fair use, it's parody. You know, I mean,
Yeah. Weird Al Yankovic paved the way for parodies and
Well,
using
yeah,
songs.
and I said this in your chat this morning, Steve. I was like, they're so stingy. These labels are so stingy about stuff. It's just like they're not doing themselves any favors.
Oh, Prince flat out refused to let Weird Al parody any of his songs.
You know, Prince is a weirdo anyway.
Yeah.
But they no. I'm just saying, if when you get your song out there on YouTube, a podcaster plays a little bit of it, you're introducing it to thousands of people possibly.
Yeah.
Who will,
Yeah.
if they like the song, will explore your catalog, and then you might end up selling something. I think it's really they're shooting themselves in the foot by being that stingy about it. And it's art. I don't think you should be stingy about art like that.
That's like the Star Trek fan films. They raise a fit about. I didn't mean to bring Star Trek up, but they Paramount raises a fuss about fan made films, but that's introducing a new whole generation to their show. When Star Wars, they don't care if people make fan films.
no, in fact, I was watching a fan film once of Star Wars, and it looked just like the movie.
Really?
And I'm like, God, these guys are doing a good job. You know, I'm like, I wonder what, you know, equipment they're using. I guess they're shooting it on a iPhone or something. I didn't know, you know, it's just like, wow, because they just said fan film, and here we are out in the desert, and they do a few scenes, and then they're kind of doing a making of. Then they back off, and they've got this entire professional camera rig and sound rig and all that. I'm like, okay, come on, you know.
Not really amateur. All right, well, I'll be back because I'm about to pee out of my eyes.
Oh, that's could be comfortable.
No, I knew a guy who did, background extra work and stuff for like news radio and a few other TV shows. And he would get royalty checks for like 8 cents or 22 cents. It's like, what worth the friggin' bother to send a paper check out, but they did.
That's nuts.
So, Steve,
So yes,
your week, how was it?
You're awake.
I'm a weekly. Oh, it was pretty good. Why?
Oh, I was just asking. We're doing the news segment. Thought
Oh,
I'd interview you.
oh
That's
well.
very okay. That's a very interesting shirt, Steve. What are you trying to say with that shirt?
Oh, I have all kinds of these kind of shirts, the design and tropical look. That's all I wear anymore down here in Florida.
Okay. Does
It's
that are
I
you
get a
saying-
lot of compliments on these shirts, and they're Walmart specials too.
cool? That's the way to go.
Yeah.
So these symbols don't mean anything, do they?
No, they're just leaves and flowers.
Very nice. Very nice.
There's a dominant one or a dice. I don't know. But I haven't given up on that fan film I want to do though.
That's cool.
In fact, I just found a guy this morning that I've been talking to for years. He does He's got his own movie production thing now. And you guys might remember I had him on my show years ago, Frank Palangi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's starting to do movies, and I watched one that was on Tubi, and he's been getting his movies on there, commercials and everything.
Cool.
Nice.
And wasn't really my type of movie, but it was done well. It was like a witch thing with, spells and
Yeah.
murdering people for no reason at all. But it was really done well, and his acting was good. So, I give him 2 thumbs up for it.
Good. Good. It's very
But
good.
he's a nice looking young man, and he would be perfect for one of the Vulcans in my show if I could talk him into it.
That's
Ah.
great.
So
Very good. Very good.
we'll find out. It's just going to be a lot longer than I thought. I want to start getting the funding first because I need at least $5,000
For what?
Your movie. His
for
movie.
the fan film that I still want to do, even though it's been years. I've been talking about that since I did Titanic the musical back in 2019.
Well, you know what? I'm about to close on a feature film that I started later than that.
Well, this one you started before 19?
No, I started in 21.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I was working on it. I was finishing up another feature film.
Yeah, you were doing Last Page of Summer when I was doing Titanic.
You remember that? Yeah,
In fact, you saw the video of Titanic I was in.
I did. I
was
remember
actually-
what we watched. You watched that
Mhm.
and A Mad, Mad, Mad World.
Did I make it sit to the pirate movie?
No.
You talked about it before, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
couldn't-
think you showed us. You might have showed me the South Pacific.
Did I show you South Pacific video?
Maybe not. No, I think I saw it on YouTube, some other production, because I was asked to audition for it or something, and I thought it was stupid.
Oh, South Pacific's a good.
Oh, I
Now,
didn't
now
like
when
it.
you were doing the Titanic play, did you ever get a wild notion to just have the helmsman say, "Oh man, I barely missed that thing"?
I knew the kid who played the helmsman there. I did mention something like that
Then he's like, "Oh, no harm, no foul."
because I was playing behind the scene character, and I remember walking on the deck below where the helmsman was. This is a young kid, about 19. And I looked up and I said something like, "I'm looking for the helicopter pad," or something like that. Of course, they couldn't hear me in the audience, but
You know the real reason that the Titanic sank, right? Because the guy that was in charge of the hatchway was incompetent.
Oh, that's right.
oh, is that what happened?
Uh-huh.
So it had nothing to do with the iceberg then.
No, it was Gordon Lightfoot. The families of the guy that was in charge of the hatchway complained about his song about the hatchway caving in because the guy in charge was incompetent. No, that was my red and white vessel where I said that he was.
You missed my punchline. I said the wreck of the Titanic Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Titanic Fitzgerald.
Well, the actual Edmund Fitzgerald, it wasn't as big as the Titanic, but it was close. It was big. I mean, it was a big freighter.
Bigger than most, in fact.
Well, yeah, if you actually see a picture, it's like shit. This thing it is like a Titanic. I mean, it was huge.
Well, what happened was they built because there's a series of locks between a couple of the Great Lakes called the Sioux Locks. It's near Sault Ste. Marie, which is spelt salt but pronounced Sioux. And they tore out the old ones and put I think there were 3 old ones, and they tore those out and made bigger ones. And Edmund Fitzgerald was the first one to be designed with the new locks in mind.
Who was that called it Ella Fitzgerald? Wreck of the Ella Fitzgerald. Was that you, Jim?
Elephants. What? Elephant.
The Ella Fitzgerald. Never mind. You had to be there.
It's okay.
I'm glad I wasn't there because that seemed like it was a nasty time for everybody.
Yeah.
Look, we were doing the wrong channel years ago, and I remember you making that joke. Wreck of the Ella Fitzgerald.
I don't think that was me.
No, that wouldn't.
Might have been Tony then.
Well, I talked once on the show about when I was a kid and that song came out. I really liked it, and I'd call the radio stations and I'd say, "Can I hear the wreck of the Essence? What did I call it? Essence Fitzgerald." And they had the DJs would get mad because they had no idea what I was talking about.
Did you say the effing Fitzgerald?
No,
Yeah, that
I can't even remember how I said it. Let me
I
see.
said effing Fitzgerald.
Oh,
Yeah, now you've screwed me up. Now, okay, now I'm really gonna.
just say Edmund Fitzgerald. Don't worry about the SS.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Essence Fitzgerald. That's what I call it.
And they got mad at you for that?
Well, they
Yeah.
would get frustrated because they had no idea what I was talking about, and I'd be like, Essence Fitzgerald, you know.
Oh,
Oh my
Edmund
gosh.
Fitzgerald. Oh, that was the magazine.
You know, it reminds me, I probably told you guys this. I called up a radio station. I was about 10 years old and tried to pretend like I was a superintendent of the school and say it's closed.
Ah.
Oh,
Like,
Edmund Fitzgerald was 729 feet long, so about 200 foot shorter than the Titanic, I think.
So it was
Really?
pretty close. I said it was like
Pretty
it was
big.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That so I had a funny dream that
I had a dream.
I guess somehow I was in England. I was just in the van and somehow ended up in England. And I ended up in Cobham, Surrey, where the Moody Blues record store was and their fan club. And like, oh, this is the fan club store. And like, Justin's inside. Justin Hayward's in the store. I can see him. And he came out and he was old, kind of like he'd look now, I guess. But he was nice and shook my hand and it's like, nice to meet you. And I'm like, wow, after all these years, I finally got to meet my rock and roll hero. And so I was inside it in the place, and it was bigger inside. It was like a museum or a Cracker Barrel or something, but it was bigger. And Justin comes out. I said, "Can I get a picture with you?" He's like, "Sure." And so we're posing next to the front door, and some guy's taking our picture, and he starts doing the happy punching, like you get excited and you act like you're punching somebody, like the kangaroo punch.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, he's being silly. I guess I should be silly too. Can you take it again? And for some reason, all of a sudden, I've got this white cowboy hat, and I pull it up, and when he does it again, I go, yeah, with my hat. And the guy taking the picture was he couldn't stop laughing. He said, "This is perfect. This is perfect." and then he asked if he could take one, and we did it again, and I'm like, yeah, and then I woke up, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It was just it was like you when you had your Christmas in July dream. It was just
yeah.
I woke up and I'm like, oh,
Damn
I'll
it.
still never
Yeah.
get to meet my rock and roll hero.
A
Because
buddy
it was
of
so
mine
real.
a buddy of mine loved Elvis. I mean, he was a huge Elvis fan, and Milton Sawyer was his name. And he said he's having a dream where he was like waiting around in some really nice room, and he was going to meet Elvis, and he kept getting more and more psyched up that he was going to meet Elvis. And then he goes, the door opens, and this hand comes through that's got Elvis's rings on it, the TCU taking care of business rings and all that. And he goes to shake Elvis's hand, and the dream ends. And I'm like, poor Milton.
Thank you very much.
That's how it goes. I've get so many of those dreams with meeting Justin and stuff. It's not normal. I mean, the Bible says you should only want to meet Jesus.
Well, you
But
can't
I don't
help
really
what you
see
dream.
Jesus in my dreams like that, If Jesus was giving me the punching thing with selfie and I was like, yeehaw, that'd be even cooler, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't have a dream of being a part of the Partridge family, for fuck's sake.
Yep.
Yeah, you were Shirley Partridge in your dream, weren't you?
That was Tracy. No, I was just me, and I was bugging them to be part of their band. And Danny, with his smug mouth, said, "You're not even part of the family." I'm like, "You."
Who are you? You're an actor. Shut up.
Yeah. That's still funny, Steve. I had a dream once where I was in a radio station, it was backstage, I guess, with Ted Nugent. And he was trying to tune his guitar, and every time he would get it in tune or whatever, I would fiddle with the pegs and untune it. And he's like slapping my hand, he's like getting annoyed. And there was another dream where I was helping Rush Limbaugh do a radio show in his studio, and that was a neat dream. Even though that would be like the last person I would have ever thought of, because in real life it's not like that kind of a thing, but it was a neat dream. Like Ted Nugent, it's like I'm not a Ted Nugent fan. I don't know where these come from. Like Justin was, because I loved his work for, most of my adolescent years and stuff.
I miss Rush. He was so good.
He was. I'll never forget hearing that episode where instead of Rush, it was his wife coming on the show.
Oh, really? Was that what she came on after he passed?
Yeah, the day he passed, she started the show and gave the news, and it was awful.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. Because we were all at the time we were hoping there would be a miracle and he would. But it was so sad.
Timmy, you don't feel bad that you don't dream about Jesus. What your brain is doing when it's dreaming, it's basically unraveling things and making other connections and all that kind of stuff. It's not you don't have much control over it. It's what you take the input. It takes the input and then it mixes it together and things come out, and sometimes they're therapeutic and sometimes they're not.
I think that at least I hope. I think that I hope that it's could be like a sneak peek into heaven sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there's some of the dreams are so cool, and so inspiring. A lot of my dreams are. There's this one dream. I've had reoccurring dreams that I'm at this hotel, and I got to go back to the room. But are we going to go soon? But I got to take one more dive into the pool, and it's always the same pool and the same diving board, and they don't even think they have diving boards anymore. But maybe they do in heaven. But no, if it was heaven, it would be a mud pool, but it's just a regular pool. But I always want to take that extra dive. And I don't know, but in those dreams, I always have friends. And I'm always, something exciting is going to happen. Like we're going to go someplace exciting next. There's just always that anticipation that's neat.
And why do dreams always stop right before the fun part?
I know.
We do. Like shaking Elvis's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I got to take the picture with Justin and do that funny yeehaw. And that was hilarious, actually.
Before I was able to punch Danny Partridge in the nuts.
No, that would have been a good dream.
Yeah.
Why don't we get Steve? When are you going to ask these people to come on our show again?
I'm just now getting back in the swing of things. You want Danny Bonaducci?
Yeah, get him on. You got Cousin Oliver, so why not?
Hey,
ask Cousin Oliver if he could go on. He knows who I am.
Mm-hmm.
He saw me at the con. He knew me from before. He remembered me from our Wrong Channel show.
Danny Bonaducci played Danny Partridge on the Partridge Man, little redheaded kid.
Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah, I remember him.
He became like a troublemaker in real life.
Yeah.
Typical kind of child star kind of thing.
Shirley turned into a masturbator,
She was a horny
public
old
masturbator.
Yeah, public man. No, Shirley wrote a book or something, something about masturbation. It's just like, what? Shirley Partridge is talking about masturbation.
Well, I think it was more of an autobiography, but she said in there that everybody should masturbate like every hour or something every day.
Oh Lord!
It was like Seinfeld said. He kind of said it's like shaving. It's just something you do. It's like
Are you still master of your domain?
Well, when you're not, it's when you're in trouble.
Yep.
That's the problem with having a wife is you can't jerk off without getting caught or feeling guilty.
Oh, I never do.
The punt gets home. It's like, what's for dinner, honey? Sax.
Yeah. I'll be doing that or doing something. Never mind. I'm not even going to go into.
Remember, Allie used to get mad at this. Oh, man.
Allie's not here, is she?
That sound didn't go over the air.
We could all imagine it, though.
Yeah.
It didn't go over?
Nope.
Well, anyway,
I don't know. It used to have a musician button that you can turn on, and it'll capture all of your burps and farts and everything. The button's not there anymore.
No, because I can't get the darn desktop version of Skype, not Skype, but whatever, Zoom.
You might have to
work.
reinstall
it. Won't work no more. It's just deader than hell. It launches twice and then crashes. It launches, crashes, launches again, and then says you're already in a meeting. Yeah, you started the meeting and then you crashed. Stupid.
Have you goggled that and see if there's a fix?
I've done every damn thing. This ain't my first rodeo. No, it's something goofy.
It's like I was getting inundated with notifications on Facebook, and it was somebody made a reel, and I was going nuts. And finally, I figured out there's got to be a way to turn this off. And I think I finally found a way to, because I was getting them a couple times a day that some group I didn't even know was a part of shared a reel. It's like, quit telling me this. Why do I care?
Oh, the new thing now is it's a reel that doesn't move. It's just a bunch of text, and then there's a story, one of those. Oh, I found a rodent on the side of the road, and blah blah blah. And then you got to click the comments for the rest of the story.
Be right back.
It's like clickbait. They get money for that. They're getting money for it.
They must be.
Well,
but at least on the desktop, I can click it. I can click the little 3 dots and say hide reel. So I've been doing that all the time now.
Good. Well, if you actually go to the red bell, there's dots by the red bell, and if you go in there, you can actually hopefully just turn them off forever, which I did, and I'll see if it works or not. But I just did it today. I was going nuts. If you got 100 pages, that means you get 100 notifications that you have to turn off one by one every time they I don't want to. Never mind.
You can always go into your task manager and turn off one version of Google, and it will shut them all down.
What?
Yeah. Okay. If you have too many, Google tabs or any.
That's Tony. I don't do multiple tabs. Maybe 2, 3 tabs.
Okay, I misunderstood.
No, I was saying Facebook.
In groups on Facebook.
Yeah, if I have 100 groups on Facebook I'm a part of, and every time they share a reel, I get notified, which I couldn't care less about that. Why do you have to notify me? And finally I figured out a way to hopefully turn all that off.
Yeah.
Because when you get it, you can turn it off for that page. But I'm just like, what? Do I have to do this 100 times? Every time I didn't even know I belonged to the Peter Frampton page or whatever. I can't stand that guy.
And now there's always, for every interest, there's like 5,000 pages, and they're all almost exactly the same.
I keep getting invited to Jeff Lynne groups, fan groups, and it's like, where do they even find my name? I'm not a Jeff Lynne fan. I'm an ELO fan, and I don't know. That's a touchy subject. I've always admired Jeff Lynne. I admired Jeff Lynne from the 70s, what he did. But he hasn't had that talent since. And I got to shake his hand, which was really nice. That was on par with the Justin Hayward thing, I guess. But
I'm going to tell Milton you got to shake his hand.
Who?
My friend Milton.
Milton,
you got to shake the guy's hand in your dream.
Now, when I met Jeff Lynne in real life, I did take the hat off, and he was like giving me the punch thing, and I was like, "Yeah!" No, I'm just kidding. But when I met Jeff Lynne, I was waiting in the parking lot for him to come out. And do you know who else was in the parking lot coming out and stuff and chatting? Was Gary Wright, and I didn't know it. It was just an old guy coming out in a flannel shirt, and Eric Idle. Now, Eric Idle walked right past me, and everybody was like, "Hey!" And he just looked straight forward and didn't acknowledge anybody. He was a real jerk. And somebody, I mentioned it in a Facebook group once, and somebody that was there said, "Well, he might have had to go to the bathroom really bad. You never know." So.
Yeah, Well, Tim, I was going to comment on your dreams again. If you want to see heaven, the thing about heaven is it's for people who like the types of things they do in heaven, like watering pot plants and talking to God. Whereas hell is for people who like to do the types of things they do in hell, like orgies and, drinking and, raising hell. So that's what you got to remember.
So it's not like the Bible says where you would hope somebody could just sweat on you, where you could you know, where at least that one drop could extinguish a little bit of the what you're feeling down there. I've heard it's a terrible place. Most of people's who have actually had those experiences say a lot of them. I think the most common one is it's just people eating your flesh. There's so many people that say that have had those experiences.
Of course, that's like San Francisco.
A little bit. There's more poop in San Francisco than down there, I think. Or, you know.
Well, if you don't want them eating your flesh, just chow down a bunch of garlic before you go down there. It'll come through your pores and all that kind of stuff. And
but what if they're Italians?
Yeah,
Oh. Then you're in real trouble.
Yeah, you got the whole Al Capone gang, the whole apple dumpling gang. Wasn't that Al Capone's gang? Was the apple dumpling gang? Wasn't it?
No, it was not the apple dumpling gang. Don Knotts was never a mafia guy.
You know, I used to like that show where you'd watch it at the drive-in, and
I liked it too.
I remember we watched it at the drive-in one time, and we were like in sleeping bags beside the car watching it on the ground. And the only thing I really remembered from it was the mining cart going down the hill and through the city. The kids on the out of control mine cart.
Oh, yeah.
And it was always so much fun, that part. And I don't even remember Don Knotts being in it. And I finally watched the mine cart scene on YouTube, and it's like, it wasn't quite as neat as I remembered it being, but still okay.
Maybe it was Forrest Tucker and Larry Storch. I don't remember.
I was his Facebook. I say Facebook friend. He didn't like my stuff or anything.
Okay.
Then he
well, let me wrap up the news real quick, and then
sure. It's been a long
no problem.
Segment.
The final segment is sports and weather. What I can say about sports is a bunch of guys played some games this week, and some of them won, some of them lost. So there's a sporting report. Weather is weird. It's cold some places up north, and it's kind of warm down here, but it's wet. So anyway, that's your weather. And if you're ever unsure about the weather, you just go outside and look up, and you'll know pretty well what the weather's like in your area. So that's my advice to y'all who are worried about it. So anyway, that concludes BabbleGab News, and we'll just continue on. Thank you.
I think I would have even made it your sports, and now for sports, you win some, you lose some. All right,
that's good.
I think that when you do, my only criticism, I've said this before, maybe you didn't like what I said or forgot it, but I'll say it again. Instead of news of the mundane, make it news of the ultra exciting, and then just say mundane things.
Oh, I like that.
I think it gives it a better dynamic.
I think.
Well, sure. Right. It's like Steve with his Jarnac the Magnificent thing.
Oh, where he's not very magnificent at all.
He builds it all up, and then it's something from a joke book from like 1969.
Yeah. Steve, are you still there? Where's our Steve?
I don't know.
He's probably chasing a kid. It's funny. That's what. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what Norm Macdonald used to do a lot. Is he'd go on a talk show and he'd have this old book of old jokes, and he'd start reading through it, and only he could get away with this because of his delivery and stuff like that. But it was pretty damn funny. Or he'd just tell old jokes, or, like the other day he goes, obviously he's dead, but he said, yeah, I went to my cardiologist, and he said, he told me that things don't look good. My heart isn't in great condition, and I'm going to have to make some changes. And his co-host looks at him and goes, is that a joke? And he goes, no, he's a cardiologist. He's not a comedian. And just chewed him out.
He's hilarious. I think maybe the funniest thing I've heard is he was on the phone with Letterman. And he had just started ventriloquist stuff, and he had this one dummy or whatever, and Letterman asked, he said, "Can you do one? Can you do He's like, I don't know. Let me ask him." Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. And he was on Letterman, and again later in his career, I guess Letterman's about to retire or something, and he started crying. It was kind of touching.
I saw. Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah,
because the two of them are really good friends.
Yeah.
I guess if I could meet one, there was one comedian, I guess it's too late, or maybe on the other side, I think he was probably the one I'd like to meet, and I didn't even appreciate him until after he floofied when I started seeing people's tributes and showing all this stuff. I did see an episode of a sitcom he did called, I guess it was Norm.
Norm, yeah.
Yeah, and I only saw one episode, and it was like a hustler thing with the pool. And him and this other guy, some guy, it's some kind of, it became like a hustler thing where they were, I don't know, but they were talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend there, everybody was there, and they both did their pool game, and both of them were terrible. I don't think any of them got a ball in the pocket the whole time. It was hilarious. Like, this is funny.
Yeah, he is very funny.
Very funny. Steve thinks we're talking. You probably think this joke is about you, Steve. So vain.
I bet you think this joke is about you, don't you?
My cousin Don, the big guy, he when I was like 7, he changed the lyrics to "You're so gay," and then he would. I had some dreams. There were things that rhyme with bags in my coffee, but he wasn't saying bags. We thought it was funny when we were 6 or 7.
What rhymes with bag?
Huh?
Drag?
What is that behind you, Bud?
You see if I can get out of the way.
Oh,
I don't get it. I know. I see that your mom takes is like your mom takes is like over text. It's like somebody putting text on it.
Yeah.
Your mom takes bulk loads.
What does that mean?
Don't worry about it, young Timmy.
I do not understand your humor.
Explain it for us youngsters, Putt.
Okay, it's a your mom joke, and it's implying that the person's mother is a wanton woman.
Is it what?
A wanton or a dang, how do I
like
say
a Yeti or something? What's a wanton?
Let's just say a sleazy woman.
Oh, okay.
Wanton is that's the stuff Indians used to use for money.
Wampum, yep. And he says your mom takes bulk loads, and bulk loads refers to a certain substance that males excrete from their genitals, and this guy is basically saying that the mother of the person he's insulting is happy to take as much of that stuff as she can.
You made it even nastier than what it was, Putt.
You can get bulk loads at Costco.
I've heard that Costco is teaming up with Microsoft to do like face recognition shit for like adjustable pricing and stuff.
Well, that's horrible.
Welcome to 1984. If it's going to be 1984, at least we don't have the square cars. That sucked. Yeah. Wouldn't it be sucked to be living in a dystopian time and have the square cars?
Right.
I meant to say Sam's Club because people know Sam's Club more than they do.
Oh, okay. Really?
I'm not lighting up when I talk for some reason.
Lighting up? What the hell's that on the back of your head, Steve? You bump your head?
Where?
The back of your head, you got like a lesion.
It's a foreign lesion.
It's not skin cancer, is it? Have you checked out your head?
Right here?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, man. That's a coverage.
Is it bad?
It's 2 of them.
2 of them.
You better have Vicky look at that.
Look at the replay.
Vicky's never talked to you about it?
You can't reach that high. Steve's kind of tall.
I'm trying to look at it. Oh, damn. No wonder I wear a fucking hat.
Yeah, I was kind of hinting at it, Steve, when I said I'm going to take a selfie. I was just like, nudge, nudge. You going to put on a hat? But's got one. And Tony would have been better if he'd have put his hair in front of his face like he did that one week. You know, the hippie. He looked like Chong.
Well, this one right here is because people don't know how to shut cabinets around here, and I keep telling them I'm a tall guy.
Well, what's the other one that looks like the Gorbachev birthmark thing?
Let's see. Is that this
Go
one here?
forward.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It hasn't been there for ages.
Oh, that's just a birthmark then. Okay, I guess you're all right.
Well, let me see it again. That other one.
There, just do this one.
Okay. That
Bring
looks like
forward just
a
a little bit. There you go.
yeah, it looks like a pilar cyst to me.
What?
A
what?
pilar cyst.
Oh, I remember that episode of Deep Space Nine.
Pylon says.
So tell me, you Trek nerds, without going too far into Trek, why in all of the like the generations and all those Star Trek babies, everything 90s onward, that aliens just were personified. If you could tell an alien by the amount of ridges on their forehead, and that was it. That was so stupid. At least the original series had like aliens; they looked like sponges and things.
Yep, it's funny.
I love the pigs. I wish they'd use the pigs more. The Tellarites.
Now I gotta get.
I actually argued with the guy that did the makeup, those makeups for the noses and stuff. And I said, that's just stupid. That's uncreative. And I was in some group and he was there and he just kind of like, well, this is what we had to work with. And we and all of the, humanoid races spawned from the same place. So, this is the variations that we gave them and all that kind of thing. And I was just like, well, it still gets old,
Yeah, at least make one of them green or something. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this image again now that he's got his hat on. Okay, hang on. Everybody, get your funny face ready. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Put my sock on, you dumb. Give me a sec.
Okay, I'm saving it just for this. Won't be the one, but I gotta save it. It's funny.
What sort of Canadian fucking fishing guide are you trying to look like, Steve?
Huh? Fishing what?
Red, green.
Okay, I'm gonna try this again. It's gonna be on. It's on 5-second delay.
Okay.
Oh Christ, that's a long time.
Okay, here we go. 3,
My
4,
camera.
5,
9.
6. Tony's got and Putt have the most generic expressions. That's okay. Steve looks pretty funny.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. It was our still for our next.
Our Turbo American.
Okay, you could have done it with my Star Wars Emperor look.
Oh, with your hood?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more, and that's it.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay.
Give us the hippie hair, gosh, Tony.
Yeah, Gottschalk's got the hippie hair going.
Get Tony to do his thing. There we go. I like this. This might be our. Okay, and whenever I'll let Tony. Okay. All right, and we're gonna on the count. Okay, here we go. Countdown.
Water, letting in water.
Perfect. I like this one.
Are we done?
Perfect. Yeah, we got it. I think this is it.
Because the Emperor always had his hands up like that for some reason.
Well,
I think we should do this. We should do this every show. At least once. Do the frame for them, so that way we have a different picture for each one. And even though it's not a preview, because like I'm going to be a different animal possibly, but at least people will know what they missed.
Right.
Yeah.
Good look, everybody. I thought that was perfect.
I just feel like Neil from the fucking Young Ones when I have the hair like that.
Hello.
You really look Viking.
Well, that's kind of what I was going for, but everybody says hippie.
No, you look like a Viking.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have horns coming out for Viking.
Kind of like Thor 50 years later.
Yeah, there you go. Old Thor.
Thor.
I'm really Thor nowadays. Everything Thor. My hip is Thor. My knee. Shoulder is Thor.
My hiney Thor.
Who's that behind you, Putt?
That's Professor
Simpsons.
Yeah,
well, I know it's the Simpsons, but because when I think of the scientist, I think of a younger nerd scientist that was on that show.
This is Futurama.
Oh, that's why. That's Futurama then. Okay.
That's Professor Farnsworth, yeah.
Yeah. Because he only got 4 fingers.
because everybody in cartoons only has 4 fingers except for Terry Summer. He has 9,
Very similar, yeah.
but they're not. It's like 3 on one side and 7 on the other.
Did you notice? You notice I'm an oddball animator because I actually put 5 digits on each hand and foot for my characters.
That is odd.
Unless they're a dragon
animation.
or something, then I might get by with one less.
Yeah, Steve, you need some like fishing lures for that hat.
Yeah.
I was gonna put my Star Trek pip up here, or the Star Trek pin on the top of here, but it keeps poking me in the forehead.
Tony, you got to watch a movie called The 13th Warrior. You look just like one of the characters out of that, and it's about Vikings.
Well, I did a thing where I sent my DNA information into the to the authorities. No, actually, to this. It was called Genome Link or something, and it said I was 47% Viking.
You say genitally?
I believe it. You look like a character named Herder the Joyful,
or Hagar the Horrible.
Yeah.
I saw a movie called Eric the Viking. It was, I think, some of the Monty Python guys were involved, but there were 2 scenes I'll never forget. Is they were on. So evidently, Eric, the main Viking, he accidentally floofied a young woman, and felt bad about it. So they were going to cross. It was kind of like the Rainbow Bridge, Alhambra.
Bifrost is the Rainbow.
No, what is it? Alfalfa.
To Valhalla.
Yeah.
Valhalla, yeah.
Valhalla or Asgard.
Yeah, so they were trying to journey there by boat, and he wanted to find her, and so basically they were all in the boat, and they were like, "Wait, we can't go. All the heavy people are on one side, the right side of the boat," and so they had to switch everybody around to even distribute it. And then some guys, well, now all the guys with beards are on one side of the boat, and he's like, "Okay, well wait, that doesn't matter." and spoiler alert, they finally get there, and he does find the woman, and she's like doing laundry. They're kind of toiling. It's not like a beautiful place, and she's like sees him. He says, "Oh, if it isn't Mr. Wonderful." That's the only 2 things I remember from it.
That was the complaint of one of the Israeli hostages after this. They made me do the dishes.
Well, you might as well have just been on a hippie commune.
Really?
I think remember my hippie wig from a few years ago?
Yeah,
I think
vaguely.
I think that's out in the garage in the one of the bins.
Why don't you wear it? You need to have you a little arsenal now that you're back in the saddle again.
Really?
Yeah, really. Yep.
But I also have that other wig I use for the Vulcan hippie type. I had a picture of it somewhere.
I liked that we used that as your thumbnail for our show for a long time. We still use it sometimes for like our Halloween episodes, even though you weren't here.
Well, hopefully I'll be here for this Halloween. I'll come up with something different, maybe.
Yeah, it's about time we started thinking about Halloween because it's getting close.
Getting close. It'll be here before you know it.
That's right.
In fact, I've started Christmas shopping already.
I'm going to be Ironside.
Right?
Yeah.
I might. I don't know. I got to think of that. Something.
No, I should
I
be
don't know what I'm
walking.
going to do.
I should be
When
walking.
is MegaCon?
This month.
Right after ChakaCon.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's. Okay, I'm thinking of Tampa Comic Con.
TampaCon last year was in August.
That's what it is in August. I should start getting finally once and for all that freaking hoodoo thing done.
I wish you would. And maybe if we get Wesley on next week, he'll talk you into it. Well, I might be the gator again next Halloween because I just got to figure out a way to get the jaw to move with my jaw. I don't understand it. Why it doesn't work. And that draconian, you've seen the draconian. I've done the wrong channel with that on. That's a heavy mask, and it moves right along with my jaw perfectly.
Are you planning on being at the Comic Con in Tampa?
Yeah, I think unless there's nobody there that's interesting.
So far, there's nobody interesting.
Well, that's got a while. I don't know if many people are going to make that kind of advance 7 months in advance, you know.
I love it whenever there's people at cons that hardly anybody knows they were like a background character in some show, they had, 5 seconds of screen time, but then all of a sudden they've got these fans like, oh, you're my favorite guy on that show or whatever.
And
The thing
speaking
is,
of
sometimes you get into these like 13-week flop TV shows,
Yeah.
and it's like nowadays you probably remember more about the show than the people that made it do.
Yeah.
oh yeah, they probably get annoyed because like, hey, when that episode of Facts of Life where the abortion happened and all this, and then there's I don't even remember that doing the show.
Yeah.
I played the baby that got aborted.
I wish Red Fox was still alive. I'd like to see him at
Yeah,
a
Steve
con.
was doing some of his comedy on Steve's show, but the problem is you got to bleep the absolute crap
You
out
do,
of some
man.
of
He
this.
is.
That boy, oh boy.
Is yours like are you still in Hamilton, Steve, or you got to bleep everything?
No, I'm not on Hamilton anymore.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get Doc G on our show one day.
Oh yeah, that'd be.
I like Doc G.
Yeah. Well, when we did, when we're doing that other show we don't mention, I don't know. He got kind of serious. We all got kind of serious.
He
off
wasn't a
top.
good fit for that show, but the problem with him was, okay, there were two problems with him. Is he would get into the inside baseball talk with the technical jargon with the radio podcast, and also he was so family friendly, but on our show he was the one that had the filthy mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't care. But it was just, that was an observation, not a complaint.
Yeah.
But he interviewed me when I did the last page of Summer, and it was a good interview. He was a lot of fun, and he knows people. He knows radio stars and stuff. That's not why well, yeah, kind of. But
he did get, a couple of times, saying something. I had to tone something back a couple of times.
My problem was I did go to his shows, or one or two of his shows. He had Elvis's brother on. It was a show like we do on Zoom.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be in, I'm a chatter, and I'm just trying to say things in the comments, and they ignored me for like probably 20 minutes, and I'm just like, I'm out of here.
The only person I see at Comic-Con remotely halfway interesting is Lou Diamond Phillips. That's about it so far.
I know who he is, La Bamba, but so I'm just that guy Belt Loop who was on our show, not on our show, but he was in our chat, and he was with us for a while, and so I subscribed to him, and he's on a lot, and I've gotten into his chat, and he says hi to me all the time, but mostly then I kind of get ignored, and then they're just talking. It's like basically all inside baseball. Those guys, they're not really trying to put on a show for the listeners. They're just talking amongst themselves, which is fine. It's their business, but they've got like 2,000 or 3,000 subs, and that's a lot of people for. So I don't know how they're doing it. They were like planning a get together at a campground somewhere, with all their fans. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I bet you we can get a good following if I can get Donald Trump on here.
Well, can you work on getting us some celebs guests, Steve?
Yeah,
I'll get back.
Get Hegseth on. He can talk about his tattoos.
Who, President?
Yeah, that'd be great to have Donald Trump.
Oh,
on
he's
here.
the guy in charge of defense now.
Yeah, he's on the fence.
Did we hear anything about RFK Jr.? Because I know today was his big day, I think.
Yeah, it passed out of the committee, so it still has to go to the full Senate.
Oh, okay.
What is he being confirmed or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people do we have? Well, we know that Tom Homan got in because he's already on the job.
Yeah.
What about Pam Bondi?
Yeah, I like her.
I like her name, Pam Bondi. I just like the name, and she's not too hard to look at either.
Yeah.
The press secretary is pretty good looking.
Oh yeah, and she's smart as a whip too.
But Putt preferred that Raggedy Ann looking one from the last administration.
I do like redheads, but I don't. I prefer that blonde. That's the speaker now.
Oh yeah, what's her name? Redhead. Crap.
Kept saying
back Saki.
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back. Yeah, she was circling back, but then that was kind of a catchphrase for a while. But she had the kind of a quirky attractiveness to her.
It's just kind of it's refreshing just seeing them actually answer questions.
Yeah.
Instead of telling and people saying, that's insulting, I'm not going to answer it. That
And
kind
now
of,
they don't have to go through a notebook and look up answers.
Yeah.
Yep.
and people are complaining about the Orange Man talking about the plane crash and automatically talking about the DIE thing.
Uh-huh.
And a lot
Yeah,
of people, even conservatives are kind of complaining it wasn't the time or the place. But I'm just like, it's just kind of nice to have, even if he puts his foot in his mouth like Fred Flintstone, it's still nice having somebody not just read what the people on the teleprompter are telling him to say.
Yep.
If he speaks his mind and kind of his bomb, what do you blow hard, kind of talks out of his ass, I'd rather have that than not trust anything somebody's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that can you guys hear Chloe crying?
No.
Down here whining about something. I put her out, she whines to get inside the door, and I put her in, she whines to get out.
That 55 Chevy almost looks like a checker cab in that picture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it looks like it has some kind of logo on the door. Nah, maybe not.
Rust.
Not.
Is it rusted on that side because it's near the ocean and the salt water hits that side mostly?
It looks it almost looks like somebody lit a fire on top of it. But I think Timmy was talking about the cream colored 55, but that older 40s one, maybe it just sat in the sun a lot and the paint just kind of faded away.
Okay.
Darren and I've said this before, we had a common opinion about, because I had a video game called Viper Racing where this is like late 90s, but it was the first video game I ever had, a driving sim that had great damage modeling physics. You could flip those cars and destroy them. It was really nicely done. And you could custom make your own paint jobs on the cars, just anything you wanted. And one of my favorites, it was a flesh-colored car with and dark charcoal. It was and I think it had a blue stripe. And normally I hated flesh-colored cars. They were popular in the 80s. They looked like shit. But this one actually looked good. And Darren agreed. He says if you've got a color match with it, it can be a really nice color on a car. He says, unfortunately, when we were playing Forza together remotely, he said he'd try to make flesh-colored cars, and he said they always ended up looking like ugly naked men. And I thought it was funny. Well, I had a 55, the Mercedes, with the gull wing doors, the race car.
Yeah.
And I had it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a nice 50s color. I'm going to make it that kind of flesh beige color. And I did. And son of a bitch, it was an ugly naked man. I had to change it to green. I couldn't stand it anymore. I'm like, Darren, you're right.
You should have tried more of a coral. That sometimes works, but then
it was just funny that it did. It just it was so funny. He was right about that.
That's good.
Steve, are you muted?
Oh, yeah. No, I said maybe the marks on my head is the reason I'm not getting any plays at the theater.
yeah, there you go.
Well, you don't wear like a wig when you go to auditions?
Should I?
Yes.
Yeah, go the whole Miss Doubtfire route.
I can wear my hippie wig, but
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's never seen that movie?
must be. I've seen it. I love it.
I'm not a big Robin Williams fan.
Well, but this is fine. I wasn't that big a fan either, but it was hilarious.
Was it?
Yep.
Well, a lot of people are still talking about it. There's like Back to the Future, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Mrs. Doubtfire. There's certain movies from back then that people still talk about, so they must be something.
And before Robin Williams passed away, they were in negotiations to make a Mrs. Doubtfire too.
I heard that's why he killed himself.
Yeah.
No, I'm not joking. I really am. His career had bottomed out so much that he was having to take that silly role that he hadn't moved on, and that was part of his depression.
Well, that would have been if he had to reprise the role of Mork. I figured he would have killed himself.
Yeah.
Well, I heard he made like $20 million a year. If you're making $20 million a year, you don't have to do anything.
Playing
Yeah,
Mork. He made $20 million a year playing Mork.
No, but he had a lot of movies after that. Hook
Well,
and all those.
he learned to be a real serious actor, you know. And
Yeah.
Well, I think I've only seen one serious role, and that was What Dreams May Come.
oh, you ought to see Good Will Hunting. Oh man, that's a good one.
It's about gay people, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's Will and Grace, I'm thinking.
it was about. It was that was his name, Matt Damon and Robin Williams, and it wasn't a gay film.
If Wesley's on our show, remind me not to say a good Will Hunting joke. Get it, Will? Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
He's probably heard it all before. Wesley, if
yeah.
you're watching this, you know we love you. We're just having fun.
That's right.
Guys, I got to take a break real quick.
Okay.
Oh boy, I got to take a long break because I need to go to work.
Well, me and Timmy can hold it down for
All
a
right.
minute.
Well, I was going to use the bathroom, but I'll wait until Putt gets back.
Or you can go and I'll entertain people with.
Yeah, just give us the news of the weird.
Oh God, no! You want to keep listeners?
I'll keep you here, Steve. I mean, I'll stay with you, but hurry back, Putt, if it's not health involved or whatever.
All right, I'll see you guys.
See you, Tony.
See you, Tony. Live long and phosphate.
Now there we go. Let me see. Leave meeting. Assign a new host.
When I proposed to Gracie, it was at a phosphate mine quarry.
Really?
What?
And then phosphate mine.
Yeah, there was this big quarry that I used to go to because they had the greatest mud when I was, take care, Tony.
See you, Tony.
I would go there and play in the mud. It had all sorts of different mud pools. They were marble colored and all different. It was just like a mud lover's paradise.
Nice.
So I took Gracie there for the proposed tour in one of the mud pools, and it wasn't as good by the time we went. The mud was kind of caustic, kind of burned my eyes. But at least I had the memories.
Yeah, one of these days I should get gutsy and try a mud pit.
I love the mud pits stuff.
Can you picture me in a mud pit? Wouldn't that be scary?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's fun. It's not for everybody, which is part of what makes it fun.
I wouldn't do it in the nude, but clothes that you said weigh you down, so
You could probably wear shorts and you just got to keep pulling them up.
maybe wear whitey tighties at least or something.
You'll ruin them.
I don't care. Those whitey tighties I never wear them anyway. They're just cheap.
I haven't had a pair of tidy whities since I was like 7 or something, or kid.
I can't see how where guys wear boxers. That's got to be so. I mean, there's no support there. I mean, you walk and it's like. Boom, 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 boom.
Not necessarily. I've got boxers. Don't think about it. I do have a pair of boxers I ruined in the mud somehow. I got mud on them somehow, and it never got out. So I've got a pair of boxers that's like you could see where the mud was, and it's like stiff. It's like they'll never be the same. And it's like when I come upon those, I'm like, do I really want to wear these? I should probably throw them out.
That's what I mean. I'm gonna say throw them out if they bug you. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's better to have that than not have any, And then I bought a bunch of like Speedo thong underwears because of that play I was in last year.
Let's see where you. Oh, you had to wear like a loincloth or something.
No, it was Return to Sunset Village. I had to wear Daisy Dukes.
Like the Daisy Duke shorts.
And the seamstress there, she took a pair of my old jeans and made them into Daisy Dukes. So I had to have like something that was gonna be smaller than that. So I've got a whole pack. I've got like a half a dozen Speedo shorts, and they're not my favorite. The best ones now are the ones that are that almost lycra. They're like that real soft underwear that's like the thing now.
Soft underwear.
It's like I got it as a bonus for buying the Manscaper razor kit, and they gave me a Manscaped pair of underwear, and it was like nice. They're like boxer briefs, but they're like the most comfortable. It's like you wear those and it's like you feel loved.
I've never done manscaping a day in my life.
Good grief. I can't imagine having hair down there.
Oh, not man. Not having it. It's like, you get more of the breeze, if you wear shorts. Welcome to BabbleGab.
Yeah, Darren was bragging to me that some woman at his work, I don't know how she saw it, but saw his chest or part of it, and she's like, oh, you hairy like animal. And Darren felt so good, like he's manly, and I'm just like, I wouldn't want hair there.
On the chest?
Yeah, I wouldn't want. I like it on my head. That's it.
I've always had hair on the chest.
I shave what little I got there.
Well, I mean, I wasn't born with a hairy chest, but
I wasn't born with any hair. I was a bald baby.
or a bald man. No, I had a big thick head of hair until I was in my late 30s.
Even when you were born?
Yep. I had so much hair, my mother said she always had heartburn when she was pregnant with me.
I didn't even have the Charlie Brown hair. I was totally bald when I was born.
You a bald baby.
In fact, I didn't start growing hair until I was about 10, I think.
Well, nowadays, I don't know, they're putting weird shit in food. Kids are going through puberty when they're like 6 now.
Well, that's one of the things that RFK Jr. is trying to combat is them poisoning our food.
Oh,
that's why they make fun of Americans being obese. I really think it's because they're poisoning everybody.
Gotta be. Because when I was younger, I could eat anything and be a beanpole. Now I look at food and I blimp out.
Yeah, it's kind of, ever since getting the cancer thing, I've tried to not have so much processed food. And I'm not perfect. I still like get some junk food once in a while, but I'm at least thinking about stuff now and trying to better myself. I've been, dog food, the treats.
Uh-huh.
A little bag of dog treats at Walmart is anywhere from like $8 to $20 now.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know what? I figured out I can buy a whole pack of like 5 or 6 turkey breasts for like $14 and use those for dog treats. Cheaper than I can for a bag of dog food, dog treats, and no telling what kind of poisons and crap they've got in that stuff. Not that they don't have hormones and weird stuff that they're giving the chickens, but I feel bad. I don't like killing more chickens' lives than I need to, but they're the dog food's got meat in it anyway, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I get these dog treats for my dogs. It's like a bag of like little strips of bacon that they love.
Yeah, I used to get those. They're fattening, so I'm just baking chicken now. I'm baking the chicken breasts, and they like it more anyway. They love meat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I got 2 very picky bitches.
And a dog.
Yeah. I was thinking that, but I better not go there. But this is the first time I haven't had my morning show coffee mug.
Why, did you pee in it or something accidentally?
Yeah. Oh, Vicky took it from me. She said it needs to be washed because I use it too much.
You don't wash your cup?
Once, maybe every 3 months. No, I rinse it and everything, but I have that cup in my hand 24/7 just about, so it's hard to grab it for me to wash it. So it's just like having a drink, one long drink, kind of, oh, look at the time. But
do you do that in your morning show? You've got like bourbon.
Oh, that reminds me, I didn't get my wine for tonight. Jeez.
Well, Songsmith, when he did his show, he was always what do you call it? A bong. He always had a bong with him that he was smoking.
I believe it. He seemed kind of.
You can hear it. He's between his songs. You can hear it bubbling.
Yeah, that's right. You did. Yeah. I miss that guy.
I miss him too. I
Well,
got to tell you
he.
though, when he was on the wrong the chicken shit show we did, he wasn't a good guest.
Oh, that's right. He was a guest once, wasn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't a very good one. But you
Uh,
know, people had their off day. He didn't get to know us. I don't think. I don't know if he'd heard our show and knew what we were about.
he
So
just on one show, or
yeah, he was on one, and uh, I think the only thing I remember is he went into this big dialogue about what he was doing the day John Lennon flew feed and when he got the
uh,
news. And it's like most of us really don't care about him as much, you know. It's like, yeah, I don't remember where I was. I was probably in school because I was 10.
mm,
I remember seeing him on Life magazine after he flew feed and thinking that guy's freaky looking because the Life magazine for the or Time when he flew feed, the picture they used was in his phase where he had really long hair and the round glasses and the beard was really the freakiest looking he'd ever looked in his life, and that's what they used for the cover. So most of us kind of normies that weren't too familiar with him, that was our first and last impression of him. What a freak.
I lost him. I don't know if you were talking about the same one, but it's the one where he and Yoko were naked on the cover or something. Or
Well, they were naked in the front view on the cover, and on the back view was their butts.
Gross.
That just ruined it. I wouldn't buy the album just for that.
I don't think anybody did. It didn't get the results they were looking for. I don't think.
Inappropriate, really.
I think I've said this before. Nudity can work if it's done artistically.
Yeah.
If they were like, look at this behind me. What if it was in a forest, you know, with body paint and elf ears and very professionally done? Nudity could look okay.
Or why
But
couldn't
they
there
looked
be
like they
just
were lost in an airport naked. Like they were just standing there like they were dumbasses.
yeah? Why couldn't it be like, okay, if they had to do something like that, maybe there's a bush. I mean, that isn't the right
Yeah,
word
they
either.
didn't even shave either.
I was talking about maybe something strategically placed in front of their areas.
Well, then
That's
there's
pretty
what's the
dumb.
point? Then it's not nudity anymore, is it?
I mean,
I'm just
didn't you
saying
do
it
something?
could for them to do it if somebody wants to do a new they can do it artistically. Theirs wasn't artistic. It was the same artistry as some guy in the mirror taking a picture of his thing and putting
Didn't
it
you
on. You
once?
know, that's all it was.
Didn't you once do the BBC with Paul and John, and you were talking about that very album, and then you did Paul saying, "I'd rather look at I'd rather look at John than Yoko."
I think that was put your hand where I want it.
Oh, okay.
I was like, Yoko, would you please put your hand where I want it? He's like, I don't have the guitar with me. But it's like, Yoko, I hope I didn't wake you. But if I did, would you please put your hand where I want it? And at the end, it's like, did you really write that about? And he's like, no, I actually don't want her touching me. I'd rather have Paul's. That's what he was. That was it. It was.
I'm gonna play that tomorrow on the morning show.
Yeah, play that was funny. I want to do one of those again. Maybe I'll do it next week.
Yeah.
Right now I got to take care of business. I'll be right back.
All right.
I was waiting for Putt to get back.
Okay.
I'm back.
I'm front. Oh man.
Star Trek time.
Yeah. You got 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah. But I really want to do that fan fiction, that fan film, but I don't know if it'll come to fruition.
Okay.
'Cause you got to start like a Kickstarter to get Star Trek. I have tons of Star Trek friends on Facebook, and they would love to contribute to shit like that.
Yeah. Are you still using any of the script we came up with?
I can't even remember what it was. I don't think I thought I made notes somewhere, but I don't remember what happened to it.
Oh, that's okay.
So we might have to brainstorm again one of these days.
No problem. Now, what ship is it again? The
The Endeavor.
Endeavor. That's what I thought.
Mhm.
And the captain had a Hispanic name, didn't he?
Oh God.
I
I
don't
think we
remember.
came up with the name, but I don't remember what it was. We might have to just start from scratch again. I do know that I want this to be related to Cybok. You know,
Right, I know that. Yeah.
but the whole thing, it's going to be Cybok, the whole thing, but you won't know it. Fans will just figure that out if we tell the story right,
Uh-huh.
because you can't come out and use an already created character according to their rules.
Wow. Okay.
Or if you insinuate, then all you can do is go like, that wasn't any particular character.
That was just a made-up character.
But I have seen people push the boundaries on these Star Trek films. They have brought in some already established characters from some of these.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, so
Like they brought back Apollo and they brought back
yeah, that was all before Paramount came out with these new things. When Star Trek continues, they did bring the guy brought did Apollo.
uh-huh.
George Takei and Walter Koenig both made appearances on that.
Yeah. Now
Um,
what's this what there's some kerfuffle about the guy that played Captain Kirk. Um
Dick Mignogna or something like that.
yeah, Vic Mignogna, some people don't like him for some reason. They said he did something bad or whatever.
I didn't hear anything about that.
I don't know what it is either. I don't understand it.
Like bad illegal or
I don't know, something probably politically incorrect, and he.
oh, I don't know. But then there's another guy up in New York who also has a duplicate Star Trek set, and he's that Elvis impersonator, Jim
Oh, right.
Crowley or Crawley or whatever his name is. And I can't stand watching him be Kirk. It just doesn't work. I watched one this morning with Jim Crawley or whatever the hell his name is,
Uh-huh.
Elvis Kirk. I call or Timmy calls him Elvis Kirk, I think. But he's looks like Elvis trying to do William Shatner, and it just doesn't work right.
Are you
Remember
here?
that Elvis impersonator, Timmy?
What?
Space,
Yeah,
What?
the
Final Frontier.
Elvis impersonator that does the Captain Kirk thing.
Oh, he does. He had the Enterprise bridge, fake Enterprise
Yeah,
bridge.
Star Trek. Yeah, he did Star Trek New Voyages.
Is that the one in Georgia, or there's like one in Buffalo or something?
That's the one in New York. The one in Georgia is Vic Mignon, or whatever his name is, and he's a little bit better. But
And that's not far from me. That's like a half-hour drive.
yeah, half hour. And when I was up there, we were hoping to tour it, but it was closed when I was up there last visiting.
You were talking about Elvis shaking his hand in a dream, your friend.
Yeah.
It got
Oh
me
yeah.
thinking. At least like I got to meet and shake kind of Priscilla's hand, and
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
she had shaken Elvis's hand.
Wait, she's a, well, no, that MegaCon.
He was
That
going
was
to be
just,
at Pensacon. I got an email from that, but I'm not going to that place again.
yeah, I wouldn't go there either. That crappy stadium they have that in.
I was
That's
surprised
just,
she held my hand, wanted to hold my hand when it was green, when I was the gator.
did any paint rub off onto her?
I don't think so. You know who else is Florence, the maid from Jefferson's, wanted to hold my hand too.
Yeah, did she?
I think Wendy said the paint might rub off and kind of, I think so she didn't, but Priscilla did. It's not that
Yeah,
bad. It's not going to just turn them green or anything.
yeah. Your hands sweat, but if you had powder to dab on it, it would kind of
I don't
dry it.
sweat very much. I don't worry about it.
Oh, I perspire like
The
a
only
pig.
time I sweated was, oh, you remember it, Steve, is when I had that helmet on with the gold paint. It was
yeah.
because of that being confined kind of made me sweat. But normally I don't worry about that. I hardly ever do.
And what I worry about when I'm going to be hoodoo is that green paint. I sweat like a pig, so I'm worried about that.
Well, grease paint doesn't come off when you sweat, but it's also it also rubs off on everything.
Yeah.
Pretty nasty. Well, you know what I do when I'm the gator and the elf? Well, you were there.
Uh-huh.
Once I put it on and the final coat, I cover it with hairspray.
I heard about that. Yeah, but then you
That
can't smoke.
sets it in. It's not as bad. As I said, if I shake someone's hand, they're not going to become green. I mean, sure, it'll kind. Well, you remember? Were you that you were there the first time I was the elf? Remember when I took my sandals off at the end and my feet didn't even have band marks on them from the sandals? It held up pretty good.
But if I were to put hairspray on my makeup, I couldn't smoke, and my face would go poof.
Only when it's wet.
Uh,
You can go
Well-
you can go without a cig that far. You can wait for the hairspray to dry, right?
yeah. Well,
Otherwise,
I had
all the
that-
hookers' hair would be catching fire.
I had that long the penguin thing that he puts a cigarette on the end of, whatever it's called.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
tried to wear it on our. It's in my wrong channel. It's on one of our precious moments where you dropped it on the floor. You didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
In one of our precious moments.
I was trying to do the penguin with it.
Speaking of precious moments, Goatscock haven't seen him.
Gotcha.
Nobody's been here. Fidesco said hi like 2 hours ago.
I know. It's been quiet. You know, Wesley got quiet even.
And King Dragon Boy is like usually the first person in our chat now, but he's only there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I am thinking of doing that with Rob becoming maybe a bronze dragon with the harpsichord thing.
I'd like to see. Well, too bad you can't draw me. I'd like to be turned into a
Ape?
Zeppelin.
Huh?
I want to be turned into transformed into a Zeppelin.
You mean
That'd be hard
Steve? You're Steve Marini in the thing.
Yeah.
Really? Why did you say that?
What, a Zeppelin?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be cool to watch, myself transform into a Zeppelin. I mean, I'm fat enough,
Was it just a fat joke?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I see, I'm fat. I can make fat jokes. See? Or you can too. I don't care.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know if you were joking or not because I was wanting to do it because people have given Zeppelin requests and I love Zeppelins.
I was really thinking of Zeppelin, that'd be kind of cool. So you can take the Steve Marini drawings you got and just convert it into Zeppelin.
You can turn into Led Zeppelin.
Ooh, that'd be good, yeah. Yeah.
Dang, this new film. Wait till you see the rushes for this. Do you plan on watching this, Steve, before you do your lines?
I should.
I should have it uploaded by the end of the week.
Okay.
This last scene is something else.
Have you still got my previous lines in there when they sounded like crap?
Yeah, they're in there. You'll be able to tell. You'll be able to hear your lines compared to everybody else's and see how like staticky they sound. Yeah, that scene's pretty. I think animation wise and art wise, this last scene's probably topped them all.
Can't wait to see it then.
It's pretty good. Poor Tracy.
It's been kind of better though to see it when it's all done. Some people prefer that.
Yeah, but if you're a principal character, it's kind of like what if you're in Titanic play and you're like they're wanting you to can I just watch the play when it's done and not participate in the not see what's going on?
Oh, that'd be interesting, I guess.
Wouldn't it be better to kind of know what the play's about so you can get a perspective of your character and everything that's going on?
If I had not known what Titanic was about, I might have done a better acting job.
Steve, you're one of the principal characters in this show. You're a pivotal character in it. So it'd kind of be nice if you could see yourself. And with your memory, you won't even remember by the time the film premieres.
That's true too. But I did okay in Titanic. I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
I didn't forget any lines in that one.
I'm not saying you did bad in it. What are you doing, Putt?
No, I'm just listening. I was going to ask Steve what
you did
character
fine,
he
and
played.
you were fun. Steve was the only fun character in that play. The only one that was kind of the comic.
I got the comic relief. Who? What? Oh, Ed was funny too. Yeah.
You remember when your wife left you and you were sad and you were standing on the edge of that bridge railing and the railing fell and you fell on your head? That was funny.
No, but the guy I was playing opposite of, he was, I don't know, after that scene, I was supposed to walk across the platform to do a dialogue with him, and he offers me a cigarette, which is a fake one. And he said that when I introduced myself and said the name of his character.
No, you didn't.
And I did not. I'm like, no, I would have remembered that. The one I did do was I was looking up the real passenger, Edward Bean. And that night in the show, I introduced myself as Edward Bean instead of Edgar Bean.
Oh.
And nobody even knew the difference.
Now the director did. He said, I see you changed the name of the character. That's all he said, But I only, 13 performances. I fucked up once, I ain't too bad.
Well, he had to. He's a director. He's got to say that.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me. I was on a live stream with like probably 30 other people at the Denver Digerati Film Festival, and Ivar, who was kind of in charge, he was so excited about Last Page of Summer that he says, I haven't done this with anybody else, but I wanted to read a couple of the judges' comments on the show. And so he read two of them. And one of them, they were both very praiseworthy of it. They couldn't believe what they were saying. One's like, I was just gobsmacked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And it was really good. Great. A great review. And then at the very end, he says, instant trash classic. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Trash classic. And I'm like, is that... And I started goggling it. And I didn't see anything positive about a trash movie at all. I don't know what he was talking about.
The trash what?
Trash classic. Instant trash classic. Now I can like Molly likes these obscure 60s movies. And I could consider those called trash, even though they're not bad movies. They're just kind of campy and fun. And I would take that as okay, but I couldn't figure out why would you do a great review and say trash at I don't understand it.
Well, in a way, that's kind of a compliment. Basically, he's kind of saying this could be like a how should I describe it?
Sleeper
like,
cult.
Kind of a cult film, yeah, a cult film.
See, that's what I was thinking, and that's fine. And maybe but the thing is the first reviewer, he was the same way. He was really excited about it, but then he said the second act, kind of went into the weeds, and he said that the art or animation was unpolished. And I'm just like, I was taking it wrong. I was taking it bad because I'm like, none of these other people here had these negative criticisms. And it kind of hurt my feelings. And I ended up kind of leaving early. I didn't leave right there, but I left a little bit later because I wasn't really happy anymore. And then it wasn't until years later, till more recently, I'm like, wait a second. These guys aren't critics. They were judges. They had to say both sides. They had to say everything about, and I took it. I'm like, looked at them as judges and not critics. I'm like, well, shit. I kind of took it worse than I should have.
Yeah.
I think I should have. Ivar was so happy. If they weren't good critiques, he wouldn't have read it in front of everybody.
Right.
So it took a little while. It's like you read a text from somebody and you think it's terrible, and then you tell them to go to hell, and then like a week later you look at it again, it's like, oh, they didn't say anything bad. It just. Hi, Steve. I'm sorry, were you trying to butt in and say something?
No, I was just making a comment. Why is the chat room so quiet?
It's terribly quiet. That's why I kind of prefer our Transforama weeks, because we at least get a few more chat. Well, Wendy said she has got a church function. She couldn't show up today.
Why don't we just do Transforama all the time then?
I'm considering it. We were kind of doing it every other week just to see where it goes, but we're at least getting people. I don't know. We'll talk to Tony about it. What do you think, Putt?
But yeah, we seem to get better.
But we have a BabbleGab channel, but that's where we put the precious moments. So that channel's still noteworthy.
Put the precious moments up there, and then a link to Transferama to see this live.
That's a thought. We'll consider it because nobody this. That's what I was saying. I'm hoping Wesley does it next week because we'll probably at least get a few people.
I'll be right back. I gotta get some Kool-Aid.
Which is code for what?
Kool-Aid.
I've got so much Kool-Aid, a green Kool-Aid and orange Kool-Aid in the fridge. Like I've got hundreds of packets because I was doing it as a mixer for my weekend drinks. And now I'm kind of afraid of the red number 3 and the yellow number 5 shit and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to have these anymore. Maybe that's what gave me the cancer was the Kool-Aids.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't know what it was. But, you know, back then I ate everything. Captain Crunch. I ate all that stuff that was full of that shit.
Well, I mean, do they still use it in that stuff?
Yeah, that's why we're kind of hoping RFK gets into the cabinet because not like my kitchen cabinet. Well, yeah, I guess so. But he's trying to get rid of the poison. He's tired of Americans getting poisoned. That's what he says. Why do we have like 30 or 40 ingredients in Fruit Loops here, but in Europe or in Canada they've got like half that many, and their dyes are vegetable dyes. They're not this red number 5 that's cancer causing stuff. That's his big thing. He's tired of people getting poisoned.
Yeah.
But boy, you see like Pocahontas and Bernie Sanders, they're so wrapped up in the pharmaceutical and that they're just like going nuts. They're shaking and crying.
Yeah. That's a big income source for them, making those dyes. You know,
yeah, but it's an income source for those politicians.
Yeah, because the manufacturers probably give them kickbacks.
Well, the thing is, as a pharmaceutical, they're getting paid by people being sick.
Yeah.
And so they got to keep everybody sick. It's almost like that Munchausen that disease we were talking about.
Yeah, the Munchausen.
Yeah, it's like that. But they're actually doing it. They're trying to keep everybody sick all the time. That's why one of the reasons they're trying to get kids to mutilate themselves with the trans stuff is because they end up becoming lifelong patients.
Yep.
Because they basically got an axe wound that'll never heal now. And it makes them billions of dollars. Of course, it makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up.
Well, there's some evil there.
That's basically that's the cleanest way to look at it.
Yeah.
Don't look at it as hypocrisy. Don't just look at it as Satan. It's just good and evil. There's people that have been people say TDS or this. It's just Satan.
Yeah.
Luke's got it. We talked about Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And there's not that many celebrities that do, but there's a few. Alec Baldwin and Robert De Niro. There's just a few of them that they're full of. It's like the Bible talks about. They're full of demons, is what it is. That's why they're so full of hatred, and it's focused on the Orange Man, but it's still hatred.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 1,000 ways to hate a certain person that was in politics the last few years, but it didn't drive my life.
No,
it didn't. You know, I knew how much damage this person was done, but you've got to just look at it in perspective. Okay, that's just Satan doing his thing, and we just got to overcome it. You know. So that's kind of how you got to look. You just get the hate. That'll age you like, not you in particular, but it'll age people like 50 years, that hatred.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus says, you know, to turn the other, kind of forgive people, because it really does help your soul. It helps you when you forgive people, even though they don't really deserve it. But if you do and put it behind you.
Right. And when you hate somebody or whatever like that,
you're hating yourself.
It can be, it can be all consuming, you know, like you said. That's what it's almost like they live to hate that person. And, you know, if Mark Hamill or whoever had at one point just, you know, said, I'm going to support this politician and then left it at that, you know, and
which
went
I
back
think is
to
even
doing-
too much. You know, if we were big and we had, let's say we had 40,000 subs or whatever, and I mean Transforma's got 20,000 almost, so I wouldn't say this on the Transforma channel anything, but you know, it just reminds me of my old boss had told me it's not a fable because it wasn't animals, but it was an old story, and I'm probably gonna butcher it. But he said there was two monks. They had a long walk that they had to do every day to the top of the hill where the monastery, whatever it was, they had to do their chores. Well, they were walking back to the place, and they weren't supposed to touch a woman. Well,
Right.
there was a woman she's about to cross the creek or something, and one of the monks picked her up and took her to the other side. And the other monk was so pissed off that he was just gnashing his teeth and not, you know, he did that for like 3 days. And finally, the other monk said, "And what the heck's going on? Why are you treating me like this?" He says, "You carried that woman over the creek." He says, "Oh yeah, well you've carried that woman for 3 days now." And that was kind of the parable, I guess. It was this kind that's kind of what it was. It's like you can't let hatred, it will take over yourself. It'll poison people. Yeah. And you see it. See it in comments. We see the hatred. I saw somebody mentioned Ted Nugent years ago. Just mentioned him or something and there were so many people. He needs to die this way. He needs I'm just like, I can't imagine having that kind. Even if you don't agree with the guy's politics and you think he's a slack-jawed hick, whatever. But to wish death upon it is mostly women.
That's ridiculous. I know they're the women are the vanguard of the woke stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
That's why that's why you get the memes of them, you know, weeping and gnashing of teeth. What do you got there? Is that blood?
Kool-Aid.
What kind of Kool-Aid? Grape?
Mm-hmm.
You can't mix grape Kool-Aid and liquor, so I know there's no liquor in it.
That's wine.
That's gross.
I agree.
Wine will put hair on your chest.
I don't want hair on my chest.
I do.
That's why I've got the Manscapers. No, my Manscaper razor broke. It disintegrated in the shower. They said it's shower friendly and waterproof, and it's not.
Poor baby.
And I had all these blades that I bought that I can't use. I'm not buying another razor. I ended up on Amazon getting a cheap version, much cheaper, and it works just as well.
You telling me you don't like wine?
I can't stand wine. Nasty. It's like, I think my grandma probably soured me on it, pun intended, because she would get grocery store wine, and she'd be all, you know, like 6 years old, 7 years. Oh, try this, and she'd want me to get a sip. And it was like drinking table vinegar. It was just like nasty. And the only wine, champagne. I've had champagne like on my honeymoon or my wedding, and it tasted like soda pop. It was fine. Like, oh, this champagne's pretty good. It's kind of like Sprite. It's actually tastes good. But the red wine, that stuff you're drinking, Steve, I don't know how you do it. I'm not complaining. Drink what you want. I don't like it. I don't like eggs either.
I used to eat mayonnaise right out of the jar.
Oh God,
That's disgusting.
I agree.
Then I like mustard all over my, you know.
it's
All
funny.
over your vagina.
There's an office scene where Michael, the boss, does something wrong, and he's in the break room and he's eating this white stuff with these black chunks in it. And Jim and Pam come in and say, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm eating mayonnaise with black olives." And they're like, "Michael, stop it!" Because he go. They go, "Why are you doing this?" He goes, "Well, I feel guilty, so I'm punishing myself." He's like trying to eat this whole bowl of mayonnaise.
You know this.
They
Okay.
finally take it from him.
That's disgusting. Steve, I think this was our Halloween show in 2017. We always try to do great Halloween shows on that show, and they always suck. But I'll never forget, there was once Steve was giving me a hard time about my hate of mayonnaise. And he says, Terry, one time I took a whole gob full of mayonnaise, and I just ate it all in one sit. I said, was it still hot? And everybody... Everybody fuss. It's something's funny about hearing Terry say stuff. You know, was it still hot? I miss being Terry.
Yeah, Terry Summer was the only one on that show that got bleeped.
Yeah, that was the joke. Everybody could cuss all they want, but when Terry cussed, he got bleeped because he's a toon.
Inappropriate for a cartoon.
Terry's funnier than I am. I listen to those old wrong channels on road trips. It's like, this is funny.
Oh yeah, they're freaking hilarious. Yeah,
Sometimes I wanted to smack Allie, even though we hadn't talked to her in 10 years. But I'm still on the road trip. I'm like, smack you.
It's funny because we would record one of those wrong channels, and then we'd say, "Well, that sucked," and then we'd hear it back, and the editing and sounds and everything just livened it right up.
Well, it's because you put the Steve Jarrett magic in it.
Yeah, it was.
See what I said?
Yep.
But the last year, you lost the magic.
Last year, I didn't have a computer.
No,
well, I don't mean this last year. I mean the last year we did the show.
Well, you know, things were going on, and
yeah, I guess, but the magic was gone. It's like you got this soundbite of a food court, and you used it in every gag we did.
I don't remember that.
It was like this. It was just a bunch of crowd people. Blah, 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 blah. We were like in a ghost town that was supposed to have only 3 buildings, and it had the blah 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 blah, like the food court. And then we did a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer where we were on top of a ski slope, supposed to be in the middle of nowhere, and it was blah blah blah. It was the same food court soundbite. I'm like, Steve, you're not into this anymore. Your soul's being destroyed by something. Huh?
Wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad. Your magic wasn't there at the end. It's okay. Your magic was there most of the time. We fizzled out. I think it run its course is all.
I don't know. I bet we can still probably turn out a few good ones.
Yeah, as soon as you upload the ones we did.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, I've only done it for 4 years now.
Right.
It would literally Vicky, it would take them 2 hours to upload all of our 30 lost episodes where we can have access to them. And I'd quit bitching about it, and I would actually do the show again.
You'd find something else to bitch about.
Of course, but but at least I'd be doing the show, wouldn't I?
He'd be bitching about something else, though.
That's what,
take your good and your bad there. He's going to be bitching, which is bad, but it would be about something different, which is good.
Well, I would be bitching, but at least we'd be doing the show again, is what I'm saying.
Then you'd be back to, you played a song on your show.
You played a song on your show. I was waiting for Wesley to be here before I did that. I'm waiting for the next week.
Okay.
But I'm willing to do it again, like I said, but I'm serious. I've been going through this for 4 years, saying I'll do the show again, but you got to put up what's up there. Remember, Molly wouldn't talk to you again because of that one episode of wasting 3 hours of her time. But I'm like 30 episodes. That's like a week of my time.
I blame Allison and Vicky for that, though.
Yeah, but who's the one that hit the delete button?
Me?
Oh,
actually, Vicky did. Yeah.
Well, why don't you? Why not? Never mind. I don't want to get into that weed. That was years ago.
Get over it.
Look, I like Molly, but she wasn't a good fit. For that, some people they can be friends, but I'd like to get. She was funnier on this show than the wrong channel, because this is a little less. This isn't as scripted, and this is more freewheeling.
Have you tried getting her back on here?
Of course, I want her back on here. She's a friend, and she's talented.
Have you tried getting her on here? I mean,
yeah, Tony invites her like every week, and she doesn't show. She's gone on here maybe twice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun.
Well, I noticed the time she'd come on is I wasn't here.
Say what?
The time she'd be on here, I wasn't here.
You were once. That was when she couldn't get on because her audio wasn't working.
Oh, okay.
But she was at least willing to come on when you were on here, so it's not come on in that way, Putt. How you doing, Putt?
Doing good. How are you?
Well, you got that crinkled scrotum behind you.
That's Professor Farnsworth.
I thought you were talking about my eye. I'm trying to figure out what that red is below my eye.
Like you got a black eye.
What? Yeah, I don't know.
You know, somebody I saw on Movie Chat, somebody said that one of the worst episodes of I Love Lucy, in their opinion, was the black eye episode. I'm like, that was my favorite.
I remember a black eye episode.
Yeah, one of them was trying to rehearse for something and had a book. And Lucy said, "Oh, just throw it to me." And Ricky threw the book across the room and it hit her in the eye and gave her a black eye. And, you know, it was an accident. And the Mertzes came over and they're like, "Oh, what happened to your eye?" And Lucy, just out of fun, said, "Oh, Ricky hit me." and they're like, "What?" And Ricky's like, "Yep, I just went and bopped her." And for the rest of the episode, they really thought he was an abuser, and they were doing this spy stuff. And it was I thought it was a hilarious episode. And people, they got their panties or underwear in a wad. You know, they can't laugh at anything. Oh, you can't laugh at spousal abuse. It wasn't spousal abuse. Oh, come on. It was just, it wasn't any more spousal abuse than Ralph saying to the moon, you know, one day bang Zoom.
Yeah.
We know that other than spanking her butt, Ricky didn't abuse her. And we all like to spank them in the butt. I mean, that's part of being a husband, and it's a husband's duty.
That's right.
Because remember this, Putt, because you're, and Steve, because you're married. Flowers die, candy gets eaten, but a good spanking lasts a lifetime. Happy birthday, Gracie. I did say that on Facebook once.
I have another 3-year-old disaster.
Well, for what it's worth, we don't hear anything, Steve, so don't let it...
No, but we do.
Don't let it jumble your log.
Oh, my.
That's all that came out. I don't know what it means, but it seemed like it was good at the time.
You can't hear that?
Huh? I can't hear anything. You're fine.
Wow.
Zoom has these filters that filter out shenanigans.
Oh.
That's what it makes it hard, because if I want to like play the tambourine and sing something, I can't play that. You won't hear anything.
Yeah, whatever happened to the music selection? You know.
Well, Tony explained it that was when he had the desktop version and he can't get it to work anymore.
I have the desktop version. I can't get it to work.
Well, you would have to host our show then. Are you willing to do that? Host the Zoom chat?
No, I mean, you don't have the desktop version?
I don't think I do.
Maybe
I do. I don't know. It's a good. I'm just so used to Tony hosting this that I hadn't thought about it.
You got to pay for it. And
I don't have the paid Zoom. Do you?
No. How come? Maybe Tony does.
Because if Tony's paying for Zoom, then he needs to get them on the gosh damn phone. Is Don on the phone with Zoom? Because if Tony's paying for this, he better get his money's worth out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, Plot, give us a warped robin.
Oh, okay. A warped robin?
Robin.
Okay. You're stranded on a mountaintop. Okay.
Ah!
But you got shelter and everything you need to survive for a while. And you can only bring one thing from home. What would it be?
Did you say we have shelter and survival stuff?
Yeah. You've got a little cave and you got a fire and all that stuff.
The one thing from home I'd bring?
Yeah.
My wife.
Your what?
My wife.
Okay.
Oh, that's nasty. Just kidding, Vicky.
You.
I'm going from personal experience. Sorry. I'm like, that's all I need.
So I had to say that because my wife was in the room.
I know. Well, I don't know.
I said my grandson just he stopped crying.
Yeah.
Well, I could say a phone. That would help, I guess. That's practical. It might maybe we can send out a phone call.
Okay.
Does
Yeah,
that
but
make
up in the
sense? I don't know, but when the
Up in the
phone could
mountains.
run out of juice, then what happens?
Yeah, up in the mountain, you might be out of range too. So
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay.
How,
So
how about
Steve,
the Mustang?
okay, you could bring the Mustang.
a car?
Yeah.
How you can drive a
Well, I don't
Mustang
have a
on?
horse. Not currently.
You could probably be better off with a horse than you would a car.
Well, if I had the Mustang, I could go down the hill with it.
It's a treacherous mountain.
It's okay.
Yeah,
If
you
I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go.
might get snow too.
Yep, and it doesn't have roads.
It's okay. Might be fun.
What would
Right
you take?
there.
Brett?
Oh, what would I take? Let me think. Let me see.
Supposed to say your wife.
Oh, she ain't in the room, so
You scared?
no,
Cliff.
I'd actually bring my girlfriend. So there you go.
Be your girlfriend. I'd bring this.
That's cute.
My puppy.
Yeah, but then you're putting your dog in jeopardy of being cold.
Oh, yeah, but she ain't got no head, see?
Oh, that helps. Her spot on her back's almost as big as a spot in the back of your head, Steve.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry. I'm mean. I don't want to be mean. Look at me. Look at my ears, Steve. Look how big they are. So I have no way to complain. I've got horns coming out of my head, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm coming out of your ass too.
That's a tail.
Oh, okay.
Now that I think about it, it might be better to have the truck up there because it's probably better insulated than the Mustang.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's
I
good.
guess if I was going to be stuck on a mountain, I want to have my Star Trek collection with me.
You know what would be nice to have? I know what I would like to have. It depends.
What?
I've got a really warm sleeping bag. But you weren't very specific. What do we have on the mountain with us?
Well, I said like shelter. You have a cave.
Okay, so we got shelter. We're okay then.
I was thinking of a cabin or something. That's
No,
what
I think he's talking about like something for entertainment or so start over. You wouldn't want your wife and stuff for that then.
Bring your Playboy magazines. There you go.
Well, Steve, if things got really rough, you could eat your wife and stay alive.
That's what that Bee Gees song was about.
Yep.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Honestly, my original thought was like my my FLAC player, my sound player.
Okay.
So I could listen to music and stuff. And then I got to thinking, well, a phone would be better because I could also watch stuff.
You'd be out of range.
Well, you don't have to. You can have video files on your phone, but
isn't that the lyrics of that song? You can tell by the way I eat my wife.
Yeah, that's how.
Give us another one, Putt.
Give you another one.
Give us an on the spot this time.
On the spot. Okay.
I'll give you the on the spot example.
Here's
quick, do a juicy fruit commercial. That's on the spot. So give us an on the spot.
One of those. Let me think. Would be a good one. Give me just a second to calculate all this.
How about on the spot right there?
Stop doing that, Steve. It's freaking me out.
It's my wife's fault.
Leaving the cabinet door open?
Yeah. The mark on my head.
Oh, no.
One of them is that lump back there. The one on the back of my head.
Hey,
I know Jessica did. They're talking about this one too. I didn't know it was dark.
I told you it was dark.
It's probably an ingrown hair, with
That's what I was told.
Well, just keep an eye on it. That's all you can say. Make sure.
I've had it for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been there a few years. Doctors looked at it more than once.
Oh, okay.
Okay. On the spot. Timmy, You got to do you got to do a commercial for the new Batman movie.
I didn't know there was one.
There isn't. It's this type.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. In a world where the only films are superhero films and cape and comic book films and films of people with one eye in the middle of their head and other stuff that you're so sick of, remember what started it all.
The View. Oh,
I'm Batman. And have a midget Batman.
He just beats the shit out of people's knees.
And he drives a little Isetta, an egg car that's black with little fins on it. I think people would watch it.
Of course they would. It'd be great.
Call it Batman Rebounds.
Yeah. Batman Whitey Whiteys.
That's nasty. All right, Steve, your turn.
Oh, I got to do a Batman commercial?
No, let's see. You got, Steve, you've got to advertise mayonnaise. Actually, you got to advertise mayonnaise popsicles.
Do you know how you know when something's gross is when there's not a popsicle or candy flavor of it?
Yeah.
Introducing all new mayonnaise popsicles. That's right. They squirt.
That's disgusting.
I broke my Casey character. Oh.
Okay, it's your turn, Putt. What do you got?
Let me say, I was going to say, there's nothing more refreshing on a sunny day in the summer than a mayonnaise popsicle.
I can think of a lot of things more refreshing.
Take them
to okay, do I got to come up with one for my own?
Take them to bar mitzvah. There'll be a fun pump for everyone.
Yeah.
I just never understood that getting circumcised in front of everybody when you're like 18 years old.
It's not. We told you this last week. They do it when they're babies.
Oh, that just makes. Oh.
Well, I thought they did it at the bar mitzvah, where the 13-year-old boys.
No, they do not do it at the bar mitzvah. It's done at birth by what they call.
It's like a mix of disgusting and embarrassing and painful at the same time.
Yeah,
but they do it to babies. They don't do it to boys.
Sure, they don't do it to boys. I'm sure they numb the area.
They do it to boys, but they don't do it.
Do they numb the area with babies? Because I don't remember it.
Well, even as a baby, they're gonna feel it.
They're gonna what?
They're gonna feel it even as a baby, so they have to numb it.
Yep.
They numb the babies?
Yeah.
Well, how would they numb the babies with?
Gas.
Gas.
I don't know how they do it. I'm not Jewish. I don't know how.
I'm not Jewish either, but I got circumcised when I was a baby.
Probably
so did I.
Are you Jewish?
No. Steve, go ahead. You were saying something.
No, I'm just saying they probably used a local anesthesia for that.
Yeah. I was going to tell you something gross, but you don't want to hear it.
Oh, go ahead. We need it.
Oh.
Some moils, the ones that actually do the circumcision, that thing, when they actually do that thing, they actually make the incision and then they bite off the foreskin.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
And that is the truth.
Who does that? You did that?
No, I didn't do that.
They bite off? No.
You guys go look it up.
No, they YouTube. Do that in the 4-H club with the when they what do you call it? Cut the balls off like a goat, or they like put something in their teeth when they do it.
That's called gelding or castration.
But I've heard that where you got to put. I don't think they got to put it in their teeth, but they do it because they're weird.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Everything's weird.
I didn't want to hear that.
Introducing new circumcision pops.
Gross.
You think I'm weird with the gold paint and painting my eyeballs and stuff? At least I don't do that.
Wesley, you still want to come on the show, buddy?
That's what the Meatloaf song was about. No, I won't do that.
Yeah.
I would do anything for love. Now,
I'd
do you
run
guys want to
for-
pick one for me, or do I pick one for myself?
Oh, go ahead, Timmy. Get one
Oh,
for him.
for
Get a good-
Putt? And on the spot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't know. Putt seems to come up with the good ones. Yeah.
So, if you went through the whole NASA training program
Uh-huh.
and you actually became an ostrich,
Yeah.
this is more of a round robin, I guess. Okay, let me start over. Okay, okay, give a trailer for a movie that's gonna be Academy Award bait.
Okay, no problem. This summer, coming to a theater near you, the most exciting, thrilling action film you've ever seen, starring RuPaul as the Annihilator. You know it, honey. You know it.
I don't know who RuPaul is.
Oh,
RuPaul,
come on.
Master of Disguise.
Who?
RuPaul is a cross-dresser, but he's a man, and he identifies as a man.
Oh,
was
yeah, that's definitely Academy Award stuff there.
No, listen. RuPaul was the one that played Jan Brady's counselor on the Brady Bunch movie.
Oh, okay. Can you start over now that I know who you're talking about?
Okay. This summer, coming to a theater near you, one of the most exciting, action-packed, intense movies you'll ever see is RuPaul as the Annihilator. You know it, honey. Did I fire 5 shots or only 4?
Very good, Foot.
Yeah. How lucky do you feel? RuPaul,
an assassin by night and a school counselor by day.
Yeah. Oh,
I
God.
thought that I had an idea for a movie
What?
that could be, I hate the word woke, but it could be diverse and work.
Uh-huh.
It could take place in the 70s.
Yeah.
And you remember like the Toy Soldiers movie where that boys' school where they had to fight off the Russians?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Red Dawn.
No, not Red Dawn. It was called Toy Soldiers.
Yeah, it was with
With
Sean.
the toys, where the toys were actually attacking?
No, that's
Sean
Small Soldiers.
Sean Astin
okay.
was in it.
Yeah, this is called Toy Soldiers. It was a boys' school, and they got attacked by terrorists or Russians or whatever, and they had to thwart them with like remote controlled airplanes and things. It was really neat. It's kind of a neat movie.
Yeah, like, remember Sean Astin? He was in it.
I don't know.
Yes,
who
I know Sean Astin. He was
oh,
Sam
is
in
he
Lord
was
of
he the
the
guy
Rings.
from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, it was Sam. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
this was a very young Sean Astin.
I just remember watching it in the early '90s with Darren, and I thought it was all right. It would be a movie like that, but it would have this black guidance counselor who's got her own skeletons in the closet, and she's got her own problems. Okay? But she ends up being the ringleader for these kids to thwart the bad people. And get this, there's like a freckle-faced, stringy blonde-haired boy, white kid, that ends up being one of the main kids that actually gets the job done. You know, who had no self-confidence before. And she told him that he had the self-confidence to do it. And there were other people. You could have as a diverse cast with the kids as you want.
Uh-huh.
And it worked. Can you see what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah,
woke,
that'd be
though.
fun. Well, it doesn't matter. It'd be a fun movie.
That's what I'm saying. If you can make a fun movie, I'm fine with having a black guidance counselor that because I had one that I still think about to this day named Miss Higgins. And I liked her when I was 8 years old. She was, and I can picture her like being the ringleader with these kids, and I can picture all the kids contributing. And it's not woke when all the different colors and all the different kids work together and make something good happen. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that. We were raised that way. It wasn't until the last 20 years where it's like, that's fine, except you can't have white kids. They got to be stupid. And if there's a man, he's got to be stupid, especially a white straight man.
Yeah.
I'm still expecting RuPaul to come into this somewhere.
Sorry, I was derailed.
Well, that's okay.
Oh, speaking of derailed, my Transforama with Judy, the train transformation, reached 100,000 views last week.
Wow.
Judy Robinson?
No, not her. I only got her to be on this film. I need to talk to her again, and since her house burned down.
I hope she's doing okay.
Huh?
I hope she's doing okay. We're talking about Margaret Kristen, by the way.
From Lost in Space. I think she's doing okay. She did a meet and greet like days after that. They got pictures of her, so she's still functioning. I just but you know, she's one of those people. It's kind of like Annie Haslam. It's like these people that act like they're your best friend and they just stop talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even show her any body paint or mud pictures or anything.
Yeah, well, that would have scared her off.
Well, then I would understand it, but I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I understand, because she talked about she was interested in coming on here with us once.
Yeah, she did. She was so into it. So was Annie Haslam. She says, anything you want me to do, I'll do interviews with you. I'll do an interview with you. And then she just turned all of a sudden.
Yeah,
you know, when I actually wanted to do it. So do you want to do an interview on, on Zoom? We can do our show. And she says, I don't want to Zoom with anybody anymore.
She said that? Oh.
Annie Haslam
maybe she had a bad experience.
Must have, but I'm just like, okay, well, we don't have to. But is there some? I asked her, is there another way you'd like to do it? And she didn't respond. And it kind of, at the time, I was trying to. All I was asking for her to do was just do a little radio sweeper for my fun hour, just saying, this is Annie Haslam, and just something simple. And it seemed like I was asking too much. And
I got to be good friends with Mark Singer at that Comic-Con or the Pensacon. Maybe I should ask him to get on here.
Can you? He seems like a real nice guy. You remember Mark Singer, the Beastmaster?
Yeah.
And he was in V.
Yep.
He was such a nice guy. I remembered him from Dragon Con because he was one of the only people. This was in 2007, before it was really known that to even talk to a celebrity and get a picture, you had to pay them.
Yeah.
And I was like, talk to him. And he said, this costume, he's Draconian. He's like, this is so cool. It could be used in any movie. Great job. And I'm like, can you get a picture? He's like, sure. And we took a picture together without me paying him for it. And then I was like, that's a nice guy. And then we saw him in Pensacon a couple of years ago. And he stopped me as a robot. And he says, oh, your Velcro's coming off of your foot. I don't want you to trip. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is cool. And I felt bad. I should have paid him for his autograph just for him being a nice guy, even though I wasn't a particular fan of those shows.
And then you heard what he did for me. I went up to talk to him, and he got busy with somebody else, and I walked away. A few seconds later, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it was him apologizing, saying he wasn't ignoring me.
Well, isn't that nice? Some people are genuinely nice. They're not like the underbelly of Hollywood.
Mark Singer's a really nice guy. I should have gone back and got a picture just for what he did.
Well, that kid I know you don't know who he is, Steve, but that's how I felt about him too, Steve. But Mike TV from Willy Wonka, the brattiest kid of the whole bunch. When I met him as the Gator, and he had a better conversation like a regular because I was telling him the origin of Florida Man, and he didn't realize that the whole thing about why Florida is notorious for weird people with these crimes. I said it's because Florida is like the only state that makes their criminal records public. I said, if you'd have seen California, imagine if there's criminal records were public, what the crap you'd find out. That's why somebody robs a house naked. It happens everywhere, but Florida's the only place that makes it public. He said, I didn't know that because I was Florida Man. But when I came back as the robot, I said hi to him and I left. And he actually did that thing, tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, I didn't realize you were the Gator earlier, So he was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I met Jimmy Doohan, Scotty, and I went up to get his autograph, and I asked him to make a paper airplane because I'd read about his biography, and he'd made a paper airplane in a high school that outflew all the other paper airplanes. And he goes, oh, no, I'm sorry, Mark. I can't do that right now. We got a big line. And I was like, well, that's okay. So I got his autograph and left. And I was wandering around. It was a car show. And I was wandering around the car show. And I walked kind of past you know, I wasn't in the line, but I was walking past his booth or whatever you call it. And he goes, and he yelled at me. He goes, "Mark, hey, I'm sorry." And I said, "No, that's okay."
Really?
He's a
But
nice
you
guy.
say I didn't make the paper airplane for you because you're fat. I'm not saying
Well,
you're fat, Pud. I was just trying to find a punchline for the.
Funny
Did,
enough, actually, he was fatter than me at the time.
when did you see Jimmy doing?
World
It
of
was at a
Wheels.
car
He
show
said, yeah,
in
World of Wheels,
Colorado.
right?
Yeah, World of Wheels, and I met
Is that
Jimmy
like
Doohan and William Shatner.
What
I
year?
was very disappointed in William Shatner because
that
he
like the
jumps up
80s?
on stage and he's a midget, and I shook his hand and he had a real limp handshake, which I understand
Well,
now.
that's
This
not.
little,
I would have been disappointed if he was a butthole, not if he was small.
no, he was nice enough,
Well, there you go.
but you know, you imagine Captain Kirk as this huge commanding figure, and
He's like
out comes
105 years old.
yeah, he's 98, I think, or
Yeah, but
something like that.
I think Tony had mentioned this. I said, because I saw an interview with him. I'm like, this guy doesn't even look 70. And Tony mentioned the adrenochrome. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's on that shit. A
Now,
lot of them
you
are.
saw Jimmy
You know,
doing?
that's like a Hollywood secret. And Sandra Bullock went out and just said it out loud. I don't think she was supposed to. I'm surprised she's still alive.
You saw Jimmy doing in the 80s?
I guess so.
Because I saw him in 98, 99. Yeah, it was 98, right before he passed away in Kansas City. He looked really frail then.
Can you get William
Aw.
Shatner on our show, Steve?
Who'd want to?
Not me
Oh,
particularly.
he's actually pretty decent.
I wouldn't mind meeting him, but I wouldn't pay that outrageous price to it. And he's one of those buttholes who won't talk to you unless you put the dollar in the the $300 in the coin slot. Could you imagine putting that many quarters in to have a trained monkey? That's all they are, trained monkeys. I don't want to be inconsiderate, but that's what it is. You know?
I'll tell you another one I don't want to meet is Will Wheaton.
Who's
Oh
he?
my
Oh, I
God,
don't want to meet him either.
real butthole.
He is.
Who is he? Star Trek?
He played Wesley Crusher.
He was Wesley Crusher in Star Trek. The
Shut up,
Kid.
Wesley. Hey, you know what you could
Yep.
but you can. What it would be funny is you pay these people, and if they're really jerky when you ask them to dance when you give them the money. Now dance, like a trained monkey.
Uh-huh.
I won't say that to Wesley when he's here because he's an actor. And I don't want to. Not all actors are trained monkeys. Just the butthole ones are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wesley will probably have nothing to do with us anymore. Sorry,
But
Wesley.
Will
We're just trying to be funny.
Will Wheaton has got this. You got to go through this whole ritual just to email him. You got to do this before you do that, and then this, and that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you that fucking bad. Jeez.
There was this
Get over
one because I was a huge Turtles fan. So there's two main Turtles. There's Mark Volman and Howard Kalin. Howard Kalin's the lead singer, the one I kind of idolized. I kind of modeled Terry Summers somewhat after him physically, but he actually looked a little like Putt. But
Thank
anyway, so Mark Volman was the fat one. He wasn't comely at all. But I was so loving the Turtles at the time. I sent him a little note just saying, I asked him just a couple fan questions and asked where I could maybe get an autograph from him. And it wasn't like a love long letter, but it was probably at least a paragraph or two, saying how much they inspired me. And his response was the Turtles sent it to the office, basically. He responded to my whole letter in like 3 words. Basically, whatever questions I had, he responded in 1 word each. That was it. It was like a 3-word reply.
Jeez.
I was so pissed off, and because it took me a lot of nerve to even write the letter. I mean, I was weeks of contemplation, and kind of like you with Casey, probably. You wanted to really think about it and not embarrass yourself, and that's kind of how I did. And it was like on a Saturday when I got that. And I had my blue Camaro, and I was going to a pressure wash job for a lady that I worked with. and ended up having an accident and totaling the Camaro at the same morning.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't a good morning. I had put like 200. That car had 220,000 miles on it. I had taken it across halfway, all around the country, pretty much.
Wow.
Stupid women with their Volvos.
That's a bad day.
It wasn't even that bad. I mean, it was just that her insurance company's like, "Oh, this is an old car. We don't want to pay to fix it." You know. And so they bought me that Firebird, which was a nicer and newer car because they couldn't, red tape. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I was about ready to call it a night.
I'll be back shortly. We won't go too much longer.
Okay. Because I'm an old man. I still like to know what this is.
Is that thing on your head?
No, right here on my eye.
On your eye?
It looks like I scratched myself or something.
Could be.
There's none on that side.
Now, what has the doctor said about your black spot back there?
He says, "Oh, it's cute." No, he said it could be removed, but it'd be like a hole in my head. I said, "Well, probably better than a hole in my head than a black spot."
Well, the holes will seal up,
But there's one on top of the head is just a scratch. It'll go away because nobody around here can shut the freaking cabinets. And I told him I'm a tall guy,
Uh-huh.
I'm almost out of coffee too, damn it. Does it look like I'm really on the Enterprise?
Yeah, I think so.
So I keep looking over here to the view screen, and then like I keep thinking somebody's coming to the turbo lift.
Uh-huh.
Somebody's in that turbo lift, and I want to know who. Remember that one year I had the Christmas tree right up here? Remember that?
Yeah.
That was funny. I got to find the animated one. There was the one video where lights were flashing and everything behind me.
What happened to it?
I don't know. I can't find it anywhere. This is just a still image. I got to find it. It's on my other computer. This is a newer computer.
Oh, okay.
Hey, can I finish my story?
Sure.
So the fat guy was a butthole. So the guy that I really liked, the lead singer, Howard Kalin, I didn't have the nerve to ever talk to him. And I had contemplated a fan letter for him for years. And it wasn't until the day Gracie left me. It was the hour she left me. I was so crushed. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and write him because nothing can get worse than I am right now. And so I basically told him that, gave him the link to Saturdalia because I had just done it and said, 60s, it's kind of fun. And it was about I was crying and sobbing for like 2 days. And then all of a sudden he responded saying, you must have spent hundreds of hours on this. It's very beautiful and funny too. Now good luck making zillions with this. And I'm like, hot damn. I was no longer sad anymore.
Good.
He brought me out of my divorce, depression. He brought me out of it. So for whatever disappointment the fat one gave me, this guy made up for everything. It was like it was meant to be. Like God
That's
gave
good.
me that bit of a pick-me because I sure needed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you guys been dating now?
About since 1967.
Oh, what a night.
I'm not talking about Frankie Valli, you douche.
Oh,
I didn't say you were.
Steve did.
Well, I was just that's fine.
I do like that song from Frankie Valli. There was some drummer they got. They got a drummer, and he's the one that just blew those vocals out of the park with that song.
Yeah.
Such a pure voice.
Late December back in 60.
Oh, what a night. That was he could I can't do it like he could, but he sure did. He's probably now, if he's still around, if they do like reunion cons, he's like, oh, what a night. You know how they all try to still sing and they can't anymore.
Oh my God. I saw a video this morning of Loverboy, the band, doing live last year. You would not believe Mike Reno. He's a big guy now with old. Oh my God.
Does he look like an old woman?
I think so. Well, yeah, old fat woman.
Yeah, I noticed that some of these rock stars, I worry about them because they turn into old fat ladies and then they floofy shortly afterwards. That guy, what was it, Rich Raff from REO Speedwagon? He was like the sexy guy in the band.
Yeah.
And he ended up becoming an old fat woman and then he floofied.
Oh, did Rick Kraft pass away?
Oh, a long time ago.
Gary
like
Richrath,
10
Gary
years ago.
Richworth or whatever his name was. He was their guitarist.
Same with the best bass player in the world, Chris Squire from Yes. He became like a middle-aged fat, old fat lady, and then he floofied like just months later.
Well, I hope that's no indication for Mike Reno.
Who?
Mike Reno, lead singer of Loverboy.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said he became a old fat lady.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they take care of themselves. That's all you can hope for.
So did Axl Rose from that Guns N' Roses band.
Who's Asshole Rose? I couldn't read it.
That's pretty funny, actually. I don't think I've heard that Asshole Rose.
Tony, if I said that, did you say asshole Rose? Yes, I said asshole Rose. You stupid.
you know, I've said this before. I think they could make a lot of money if there were Comic Cons for just old rock stars.
Oh, that'd be
Could you imagine there's a Moody Blues booth and a Loverboy booth and you just pass... we kind of saw the Go-Go's drummer, but could you imagine if all these old bands had... They wouldn't... And it could be called, I'm not going to... Please don't ask me to sing, con.
Yeah.
And people know they know going in that they're not going to have to recite songs for them, and I think that's a good rule. Because if I was
RockCon.
Huh?
RockCon.
RockCon? That's a good one. RockCon.
Kind of like RockCon to RockCon.
Yeah. I like that. RockCon.
Yeah.
I think they'd make a lot of money because these people, they still want the fame and the money, but they can't really, they don't have the stamina to do a 2-hour show and do all these bus tours.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, do a RockCon.
This way, they don't have to perform. The fans can just ask stupid questions. What was it like in the third phrase of the last song on the album?
Oh shit! I got top chat on. No wonder I'm probably not seeing anybody. Supposedly Gottschalk's here.
I didn't see him.
He said Demi Moore was a butthole. Sorry, I just saw you here, Gottschalk. You got to put it on live chat instead of top. I forgot to do that at the beginning. We probably had a whole 100 people here saying stuff and we've ignored them. I'm sorry.
I'm showing live chat. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in live chat too.
So you're on live chat. What's the last thing you saw in live chat?
This is where Tony said, "Hey, Dave."
What do you see before Tony on live chat?
Me say hello.
And Fedesco. Okay, so we haven't. No, Gottschalk did say Demi Moore was a butthole. He said he met Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, and he said he was real nice, like your old friend kind of guy, and then Demi Moore was like, rolling her eyes and pulling her pants down and stuff.
Well, listen, fellas, I gotta bow out of here.
Yeah, it's about time for me to head out too.
I've been up since 3 a.m. this morning.
Well, thanks for hanging with us for so long, Steve. Get some sleep.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I should get back on the film, but fuck.
Film the fuck? Huh?
I want to kill myself with this thing.
Take the rest of the night off and clear your brain.
I guess I should.
Yeah.
I think you like what you see. I think you'll like it.
Come back fresh at it tomorrow.
I think so. Although I got to go to work tomorrow, but still.
There you go.
But so by the end of the week, by this weekend, hopefully I will have a new Rush. Do you want me to put you on? Gottschalk, do you want me to put your name in there to share the video so far? Steve, Putt?
Huh? Yeah.
You going to watch video? It? Last time I did this, I put it out. I sent everybody a personal link so they could see what was going on because I wanted to go over the next scene with everybody before the show. So we're got a a half an hour, 45 minutes before the show starts, and nobody saw it.
Fascinating.
Not really. It was kind of annoying because it's like, why didn't you guys at least say something? I assumed you saw it. If you didn't see it, then say you didn't. Never mind. I don't want to bitch about it. It's not like you're getting paid for this shit. So
this is not shit. All right, gentlemen.
Hey, fill us in on this Wesley stuff, and also, Steve, we need to talk tomorrow.
Okay, there's nothing going on tomorrow after the show that I know of.
All right, let's get this thing figured out. Not that putt.
That putt.
All right, gentlemen, everybody, good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good one.
Take
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.